There is an ancient truth, whispered not in books of commerce, but in the silent chambers of the heart. It says that your world, in its entirety, is a reflection, a perfect, unflinching mirror of what you hold within. The people you meet, the circumstances you encounter, the love you experience, all are echoes of an inner reality, projected outward. And nothing reflects with more brutal, more crystalline honesty than money. We have been taught to see it as a force outside of ourselves, a goal to be pursued, a power to be acquired. We chase it, we fear it, we worship it, we condemn it, all while failing to recognize its true nature. Money has no power of its own. It is inert. It is simply a mirror. It magnifies, with perfect fidelity, the beliefs you hold about your own worth, the fears you harbor about survival, and the love you have for your own existence. So I ask you to be still, just for a moment, and consider the reflection you see in your own life. When you look at your finances, at the flow of abundance that moves toward you or away from you, what is the image that stares back? Is it a portrait of ease, of grace, of more than enough, arriving in expected and unexpected ways? Or is it a landscape of struggle, of constant striving, of a gnawing fear that there will never be enough, no matter how hard you work? Look honestly. Do not judge what you see. Simply observe. Because you are here, listening to this, because a deeper part of you knows the truth, you cannot change the reflection by fighting it. You cannot scrub the mirror and expect the image to change. You must turn away from the mirror and attend to the one who is being reflected. This journey we are about to embark upon is not a lesson in budgeting or investment. It is an expedition into the vast, silent territory of you. We will not be looking at the world of finance. We will be looking into the mirror itself. Our purpose is to gently and with great compassion wipe away the smudges on that internal surface. The smudges of doubt, of inherited scarcity, of the deeply ingrained belief that you are not worthy of abundance. We are here to polish the lens of your perception, so that the infinite, inherent wealth of your own being, the richness of your own consciousness, can finally be reflected back to you, clearly and without distortion. The book you need is not made of paper and ink, it is made of consciousness, and its only subject is the truth of who you are. Let us begin. Let us begin with the first principle, the foundation upon which this entire understanding rests. To truly grasp it, you must be willing to suspend, just for a while, everything you have ever been taught about wealth, success, and effort. The principle is this: money is not what you think it is. It is not paper. It is not a number on a screen. It is not your enemy, nor is it your savior. It is energy, pure, simple, and alive. More than that, it is a conscious energy that responds perfectly to you. It is a mirror. It does not have a mind of its own. It does not possess judgment or preference. It cannot decide to like you or dislike you. Its one and only function is to reflect, with perfect, unwavering accuracy, the energy that you are broadcasting. It is the great reflection. We live in a world that has taught us the opposite. We have been conditioned to personify money, to give it a will, an agency that it does not possess. We say, money is the root of all evil, as if the energy itself were malicious. We say, money can't buy happiness, as if it were a faulty tool. And in the very same breath, we spend our lives in a frantic chase for it, believing it holds the key to our freedom, our security, our worthiness. Notice the deep contradiction here. We treat it as both a demon to be exorcised and a god to be worshipped. This internal conflict, this deep division in our own consciousness, is the very first thing the mirror reflects. It reflects our confusion back to us as chaos in our financial lives. The struggle you feel is not with money. It is the struggle between the opposing beliefs you hold about it. To understand this more deeply, let us use an image. Imagine a great cosmic river. This river is the ever-present flow of all abundance, all life, all well-being, and all possibility. It is powerful, infinite, and ceaselessly flowing day and night. It is utterly neutral, completely impartial. It does not decide which lands to irrigate and which to leave barren. It simply flows. This river is the energy that you call money, or wealth, or prosperity. It is always there, always available, always in motion. Now, imagine that your consciousness, the sum of your beliefs, feelings, memories, and assumptions, is the riverbed through which this great river must pass. The shape, the depth, the width, and the texture of your personal riverbed determines, with absolute precision, how this universal river flows in your experience. The river itself does not change. Its potential is always infinite, but its expression in your life is entirely dependent on the vessel you have prepared for it. For many of us, this riverbed is not clear. It is not a smooth, deep channel inviting the flow. Instead, it is cluttered. It is filled with the jagged rocks and heavy boulders of old beliefs. There is the rock of unworthiness, whispering that you do not deserve ease. There is the boulder of scarcity, a dense, inherited fear from your parents and their parents, that money is hard to come by, and even harder to keep. There is the sharp gravel of past failures, the financial mistakes that you have never forgiven yourself for. There are the tangled weeds of societal programming, telling you that spirituality and wealth cannot coexist, or that to desire money is to be greedy. These are not just fleeting thoughts. In the world of energy, they are real, dense objects. They are obstructions in your energy field, lodged firmly in the riverbed of your consciousness. Now, see the great river of abundance, in all its infinite power and grace, approaching your consciousness. The river does not judge the rocks. It is not angry at the weeds. It simply responds to the landscape it encounters. It cannot flow freely and powerfully through a channel that is filled with obstructions. It is a law of nature. So, in your life, the mighty river becomes a mere trickle. It gets trapped in stagnant pools of debt and anxiety. It has to navigate around the immense boulder of your self-doubt, so its path becomes twisted and unpredictable. It might even seem to divert entirely, seeking a clearer path elsewhere, leaving your land dry and wanting. Do you see the critical importance of this? The river is never withholding itself from you. The universe is never punishing you. Your experience of lack is not a sign of your failure or a mark against your character. It is simply feedback. It is the river showing you, with perfect love and impartiality, where the blockages are in your own consciousness. Your bank account is not a measure of your worth as a human being. It is a weather report of your inner climate. The anxiety you feel is not caused by the lack of money. It is the feeling of the great river straining against the dams you have unconsciously built. The world, your conditioning, tells you that if the river isn't flowing, you must work on the river. You must go outside, build elaborate contraptions, dig furiously with your bare hands, and try to force the water into your channel. This is the paradigm of struggle. This is working longer hours, chasing more desperately, competing, and striving from a place of fear. You are trying to manipulate the reflection in the mirror. You are trying to change the flow of the river from the outside. But the real work, the only work that creates lasting change, is not outside. The work is inside. The work is to remove the rocks from your own riverbed. And how do you do this? Not by fighting them, not by attacking them with anger or frustration, for that only makes them denser. You begin with the gentle, luminous power of awareness. You stop blaming the river. You stop cursing the dryness of the land. You withdraw your attention from the external effects, and you turn your gaze inward. For the first time, perhaps, you decide to walk along the banks of your own inner river. You begin to feel, with courage and compassion, the shape of your own limitations. You put your hand on the cold, hard surface of the belief, there is never enough. You feel the sharp, painful edge of the memory of a past failure. You sit with the heavy, suffocating weight of the fear, if I have it, it will all be taken away. You do not need to analyze them or understand their origin. You only need to see them, to acknowledge their presence within you. In the light of your non-judgmental awareness, these dense energies begin to change. The light of your consciousness is a solvent. It begins to gently dissolve the solidity of these boulders. It loosens their grip. Slowly, patiently, you are clearing the channel. You are tending to your own sacred ground. This is how the mirror of money truly serves you. It is not just a passive reflector. It is a magnifier. It is an active spiritual tool. If you have a small, hidden fear of lack, the mirror of money will not just show you a small reflection of lack. It will create circumstances in your life that seem to scream lack back at you with overwhelming intensity. It does this not to punish you, but to get your attention. It is the universe's way of saying, look here. There is something within you that is out of alignment with the truth of your own infinite nature. Let us heal this now. The financial pressure, the bill you cannot pay, the opportunity that falls through these are not random misfortunes. They are lovingly orchestrated invitations to look deeper, to find the corresponding rock in your riverbed and begin the work of dissolving it with your awareness. Therefore, the great reflection is not a curse. It is a profound gift. It is a divine biofeedback system, constantly showing you the state of your own energy, the quality of your own inner world. The moment you truly understand this, the entire game of life changes. The frantic, desperate search for money ceases. The exhausting struggle ends. The question is no longer, how do I get more money? That is the question of a person trying to argue with a mirror. The new question, the only question that truly matters, becomes, what is the state of my being that is creating this reflection? This realization is the gateway to true sovereignty. It is the beginning of the end of victimhood. It is the first step toward becoming a conscious creator of your reality, rather than a passive reactor to it. When you fully accept that your life is a mirror, you reclaim your power. Because if you are the source of the reflection, then you have the power to change it. And this leads us directly to the next great truth. We must understand the actual currency that the universe trades in. It is not the dollar, not the pound, not the euro. It is the currency of being itself. We have arrived at the very heart of the matter. Having turned our gaze away from the flickering reflection in the mirror, we now look directly at the source. We have discarded the old, fruitless question, how do I get more money? And we have dared to ask the one that holds all power. What is the state of my being that is creating this reflection? The answer to this question requires a radical shift in perspective, a redefinition of value itself. It requires us to understand the true legal tender of the cosmos. This currency is not printed on paper or minted from metal. It cannot be stored in a vault or traded on a stock exchange. It is the most powerful, most valuable, and most intimate asset you will ever possess. It is the currency of being. What is this currency of being? It is the silent, vibrational signal that you are constantly emitting into the universe every second of every day. It is the sum total of your dominant feelings, your default emotional home, your background sense of self. It is not what you are thinking, for thoughts are often fleeting and contradictory. It is not what you are doing, for actions can be performed from a place of joy or a place of dread. The currency of being is the pure, undiluted energy of who you are being from moment to moment. Are you being peaceful? Are you being resentful? Are you being expansive and open? Or are you being contracted and fearful? This is your true wealth. Unlike the dollar or the yen, which can be given, stolen, earned, or lost, the currency of being emanates from you, and from you alone. It is your untouchable, sovereign signature on the fabric of existence. To make this clear, let us turn to the wisdom of nature, which is always honest. Consider a flower in a field, a rose, perhaps. The rose does not have a to-do list. Its purpose is not written in a planner. It does not strain or strive or worry. It does not attend seminars on how to be a better rose. It does not look at the lily and feel inadequate, or at the oak tree and feel small. The rose has one single, silent, powerful imperative, to be a rose. Its only work is the work of unfolding. It draws sustenance from the soil and light from the sun, and it simply blooms. Its petals unfurl in their own divine time. Its color deepens from the inside out. Its unique fragrance is released upon the air, not as a transaction, but as an overflow of its own essence. This state of blooming, this radiant, unapologetic expression of its own nature, is its currency. And what happens as a result of this state of being? The bees and the butterflies, the hummingbirds and the beetles, the very agents of life and continuity, are not coerced. They are not convinced by a clever marketing campaign or a desperate plea. They are drawn, irresistibly, to the state of the flower. Its fragrance is a call that requires no words. Its color is a beacon that needs no advertisement. Its very being is an invitation. The flower is paid for its beingness with the very things it needs to continue its existence, the pollination that ensures its legacy and propagates its beauty across the field. It gives its being, and it receives what it needs. The exchange is seamless, effortless, and graceful. You, in your spiritual essence, are no different from this flower. Your frantic chasing of money, your anxious striving for security, your desperate attempt to prove your worth, is like a flower ripping itself from its roots to run through the field trying to catch a bee. It is absurd. It is a violation of your own nature. It is exhausting, and it will never, ever work. Your true work is not to chase. Your true work is to bloom. What does it mean for a human being to bloom? It does not mean to sit and do nothing. It means that the state of your being becomes your primary focus, more important than any task you have to complete. To bloom is to cultivate a state of inner peace, even when the world outside is screaming chaos. To bloom is to anchor yourself in a feeling of worthiness that is not dependent on your job title, your accomplishments, or your bank balance. To bloom is to find a quiet, simple joy in the fact of your own existence, in the feeling of air filling your lungs, in the warmth of the sun on your skin. This is the minting of your currency. The fundamental law has been stated backwards for centuries. We have been taught that acquiring wealth will create a wealthy state of being, that when you have the money, then you will feel secure. When you are successful, then you will feel worthy. This is a profound misunderstanding of cosmic law. It is like telling the flower that it will only receive sunlight after it has produced a perfect bloom. The truth, the secret that mystics have known for ages, is this: a wealthy state of being is what creates wealth. The feeling of security is what attracts circumstances that make you secure. The feeling of worthiness is the magnetic force that draws opportunities to you that reflect your worth. You must generate the feeling first. The feeling is the currency you pay to the universe. The reflection in the mirror is the change you get back. The universe is a vast field of resonance. Like attracts like is not a hopeful New Age platitude. It is the fundamental physics of consciousness. Every state of being has a unique vibrational frequency. A state of anxiety, for instance, vibrates at the frequency of not enough, something is wrong. When you broadcast that signal, you can only, by law, attract people, circumstances, and events that resonate with not enough, something is wrong. You will find evidence for your anxiety everywhere you look. Conversely, a state of gratitude vibrates at the frequency of I have so much, everything is right. When you broadcast that signal, you must, by law, attract circumstances that give you even more to be grateful for. The universe has no choice but to match your signal. It is not personal, it is physics. At this point, the logical mind protests. It says, "But how can I feel wealthy when my bills are piling up? How can I feel peaceful when my life is in turmoil?" This is the great challenge. This is the spiritual work. It is the point where you must decide whether to remain a victim of the reflection or to become the master of the source. It is a practice, like strengthening a muscle you have not used in years. At first, it feels difficult, even impossible. But you begin small. You do not try to force a feeling of ecstatic joy when you are in despair. You simply aim for a small step up the emotional ladder. Can you find a moment of peace? Can you close your eyes, take one deep breath, and for just 60 seconds, feel the relief of letting go of the problem? That 1 minute of relief is a deposit in your cosmic bank account. You have just minted a piece of currency. The practice is to catch yourself, to become aware of the state you are inhabiting throughout the day. When you are driving your car, when you are washing the dishes, when you are speaking to your family, what are you being? Are you being resentful? Are you being worried? Are you replaying old hurts? Simply notice, without judgment. That noticing is the first ray of sunlight entering the soil. Then, you introduce a new choice. Can I be grateful for this clean water? Can I be peaceful for the next 3 breaths? Can I feel a sliver of hope? Each time you consciously choose a higher state of being, you are tending to your inner garden. You are encouraging your own bloom. To cultivate this state of being, this inner wealth, is your highest purpose. It is the work that truly matters, the work that all other work depends on. But to properly tend to this garden, we cannot ignore the presence of the invasive, deep-rooted weed that chokes so much of the soil of the human psyche. It is a weed so common that we have mistaken it for the soil itself. This weed has a name. It is the great illusion we have been taught to believe is reality. It is the primary force that devalues our inner currency and keeps the reflection in the mirror locked on an image of lack. We must now turn our attention to this pervasive phantom. We must face the shadow of scarcity. If the currency of being is the golden coin of the cosmos, then we must now confront the master counterfeiter, the silent thief that debases this sacred currency within us. We must turn and face the pervasive ghost in the machine of the collective human mind. It is an unseen force, yet its effects are visible everywhere in our deepest anxieties, in our most bitter conflicts, and in the persistent, gnawing feeling that there is simply not enough. We speak now of the shadow of scarcity. Understand this first. Scarcity is not a condition of the world. It is a condition of the mind. It is a perceptual filter, a lens that has been placed over the eye of the soul, and it tints the entire universe with the bleak colors of competition, fear, and loss. This shadow was not born with you. You are not inherently flawed with it. You inherited it. It is a psychic virus, a program running deep in the hardware of the collective human consciousness, passed down through millennia of trauma, famine, war, and survival. It is the accumulated fear of every ancestor who ever starved, every tribe that ever fought over a watering hole, every human who ever looked at their empty hands and feared for the morrow. You carry their echo within your cells, and the mirror of money, in its perfect, impersonal honesty, reflects this ancient echo back to you as your present reality. To grasp the profound illusion of scarcity, let us use another image. Imagine you are standing in the center of a vast, dark chamber. This chamber is infinite. It is the universe itself, the plenum of all potential. It is filled to the brim with everything you could ever desire or imagine. In this darkness, waiting silently, are brilliant ideas, healing energies, loving relationships, profound joy, vibrant health, and yes, oceans of unimaginable wealth. It is all there, everywhere, at once. It is the fundamental nature of reality, pure, limitless abundance. But in your hand, you hold a single, small candle. This candle is your current conscious awareness, constricted and shrunken by the program of scarcity. The flame flickers, casting a tiny, wavering circle of light at your feet. Within this fragile circle, you can see a few coins, perhaps a crust of bread, a single cup of water. You stare intently into this circle of light, because it is all you can see. Looking at this meager evidence, you form a conclusion. You say, "This is it. This is reality. The world is a hard place. Resources are limited, and life is a struggle for survival. And so you spend your entire life defending your tiny circle of light. You guard your few coins with anxiety. You clutch your crust of bread, terrified that someone else might take it. You are suspicious of anyone who approaches, for they might be a threat to your limited supply. You live in a constant, low-grade state of fear, terrified that a sudden wind will extinguish your little flame and leave you in total darkness. But all the while you are standing, right now, in the midst of an unimaginable feast. The treasure is not in some distant land to be sought. It is not a prize to be won. It is right here, surrounding you, just beyond the edge of your tiny, self-imposed circle of light. The great tragedy of scarcity is this. It is the profound, heartbreaking mistake of believing that the candlelight is the entire room. This shadow dictates so much of human behavior. It is the source of all zero-sum thinking, the insidious whisper that for you to win, someone else must necessarily lose. It is the voice that creates jealousy when a friend succeeds, because you believe they have taken a piece of a finite pie that should have been yours. It is scarcity that compels you to hoard not just money, but affection, knowledge, and energy out of a deep fear that the supply will run out, that you will be left depleted. It is scarcity that forces you into the toxic, soul-crushing game of comparison, constantly measuring your small circle of light against the perceived brightness of someone else's, breeding only envy and a sense of inadequacy. It is scarcity that paralyzes you with the fear of failure, telling you not to risk starting a new venture, not to invest in yourself, not to be generous, because if you fail, you will lose the little you have, and the lie insists there will be no second chances. Energetically, the state of being produced by the shadow of scarcity is one of contraction. Feel it in your own body now. Remember a time you were worried about money. What happened to your breath? It became shallow. What happened to your shoulders? They tensed and rose toward your ears. Your stomach tightened. Your energy field literally shrank, pulling in on itself as a defensive posture. In this state of contraction, you are a riverbed that has become a narrow, choked crevice. How can the great, expansive river of abundance possibly flow through such a constricted channel? It cannot. Your very physiology, directed by your fear, repels the wealth you seek. So what do we do about this shadow? Here is a truth of immense importance. You do not fight a shadow. To wrestle with a shadow is to exhaust yourself fighting nothing. To fight a shadow is to believe it is a solid entity, which only makes it seem more real. You do not argue with a shadow. You do not reason with it. There is only one way to deal with a shadow. You introduce light. The light, in this case, is your conscious, non-judgmental attention. It is the light of awareness itself. You must become a shadow hunter in your own inner world. The practice is simple, though it requires vigilance. Begin to watch for the expressions of scarcity in your thoughts, your words, and your feelings. When you are scrolling through social media and you feel a pang of jealousy at someone's vacation or new car, do not condemn yourself. Simply pause and internally whisper, "Ah, there is the shadow." When a friend asks for a small loan and your immediate gut reaction is a fearful no, before you even consider it, just notice. There is the shadow again. When you choose the cheapest option, not out of joyful frugality but out of a tight-fisted fear of lack, witness it. When you hesitate to share a great idea at work for fear someone else will get the credit, see it clearly. In these moments, you do not need to do anything else. You do not need to correct the thought or force yourself to feel generous. The initial act of pure seeing is everything. You name it, silently, to yourself. I see you, scarcity. I feel you, fear of lack. I recognize this pattern of thinking. Something miraculous happens in that moment of pure seeing. You are creating a space between you, the observer, and the program of scarcity. And in that space lies your freedom. In the instant you see the shadow, you prove that you are not the shadow. For if you can see it, you cannot be it. you are the one who sees. You are the awareness in which the shadow appears and disappears. This realization is the first crucial step in reclaiming your power. You are not the candlelight. You are not the darkness. You are the infinite room itself, remembering its own nature. By seeing the shadow, by recognizing its face without judgment, we begin to rob it of its power. Its power lies in its ability to remain unseen, to masquerade as your own true voice, as common sense or being realistic. But to truly dismantle it, to dissolve it completely, we must understand its very structure. This shadow is not an amorphous mist. It has a definite architecture. It is built piece by piece from the invisible but incredibly powerful material of your personal and collective convictions. It is time to examine the very blueprints of your perceived reality. It is time to switch on the light and study the architecture of belief. We have faced the shadow. We have stood in the imaginary circle of candlelight and acknowledged that the vast, dark room around us is not empty, but filled with infinite potential. Now, we must ask the crucial question: what is this shadow made of? How is this phantom of scarcity given such a solid, convincing, and often painful form in our lives? The answer is that the shadow is not an accident. It is built. It is constructed with meticulous precision, piece by piece, using an invisible yet supremely powerful material. This material is belief. Your beliefs are the silent architects of your reality. They are the unseen blueprints from which the entire structure of your life is assembled. Let us be very clear about what a belief is in this context. A belief is not merely a thought you entertain casually, like wondering what to have for dinner. A belief is a thought that you have energized with the power of certainty. It is a conclusion about the nature of reality that you have accepted as law, consciously or, more often, unconsciously. It is a judgment that has been hammered into the bedrock of your subconscious mind so firmly that it no longer feels like an opinion. It feels like the truth. It feels like the way things are. It is the foundational grammar you use to interpret the world. To truly understand this, imagine your consciousness, particularly your deep subconscious mind, is a vast and fertile plot of land. This land is pure, creative potential. It holds no preference, no bias, no judgment. It is the soil of existence, and it will grow anything you plant in it. It will grow roses with the same impartiality as it will grow nightshade. Its only function is to nurture whatever seed it is given. Every single belief you hold is a seed. When you were a child, your mind was soft, open soil, and seeds were being thrown into it constantly from every direction. Your parents, with love and concern, planted seeds when they said, "Money doesn't grow on trees," planting a seed of difficulty. Or, "You have to work hard for your money," planting a seed of struggle. A teacher might have planted a seed of limitation by saying, "You're just not a numbers person." Society plants seeds of conflict, whispering that rich people are greedy and dishonest, forcing you to unconsciously choose between being a good person and being a wealthy person. The constant refrain of, "We can't afford that," was not just a statement of fact. It was the planting and watering of a seed of limitation, repeated until it became a fundamental, unquestioned truth in your inner world. For years, these seeds were watered by repetition and fertilized by the emotional agreement of the people you trusted. You accepted them as reality long before you had the cognitive ability to question them. They took root deep in the fertile, dark soil of your subconscious mind, growing powerful root systems that now influence your every decision. Now, as an adult, you stand and look upon the landscape of your life. You see a garden that yields struggle, anxiety, and a constant sense of not enough. And you wonder why. In your confusion, you try to fix the harvest. You work harder, trying to force the thorny bushes to produce sweet fruit. You get angry at the meager yield, cursing the ground itself. But you cannot change the harvest without changing the seeds you have planted. This is an absolute law. You cannot sow a belief in your own unworthiness and expect to reap a life of abundance. You cannot plant the seed of struggle and expect to harvest a life of ease. The garden of your life is giving you a perfect, honest reflection of the seeds that lie within your subconscious soil. How does this mechanism work so powerfully? Beliefs operate in two primary ways: as a filter for perception and as a command for creation. First, a belief acts as a powerful filter. It is the gatekeeper of your perception. If you hold the deep core belief that opportunities are scarce, your brain, in its effort to be efficient, will actively filter out and render invisible any evidence to the contrary. A genuine opportunity for abundance could be presented to you on a silver platter, but you will literally not see it. Your perceptual system will dismiss it as a fluke, a scam, or something for other people. It does not match the inner blueprint, so it is deemed irrelevant and discarded before it even reaches your conscious awareness. You live in a world of your own making, and your beliefs are the gatekeepers. Second, and even more powerfully, a belief is a command. It is a direct order given to the vast, powerful, non-rational part of your mind that governs your behavior, your intuition, and your energy. When you hold the belief, "I am just not good with money," you are giving a sacred command to your inner self to create a reality that proves this belief is true. You will then, in perfect obedience to the core command, unconsciously mismanage funds. You will feel an irrational resistance to looking at your bank statements. You will sabotage good opportunities and make poor financial decisions, not because you are foolish, but because you are being perfectly, powerfully obedient to the architect's blueprint. Over time, these individual beliefs do not remain separate. They link together, they calcify, they form walls. The belief, "money is hard to get," connects to the belief, "I am not worthy," which connects to the belief, "the world is a competitive, unsafe place." Before you know it, you have built a complete, four-walled prison around yourself. A prison constructed entirely of thought and conviction. And because you, the prisoner, are also the architect and the builder, you don't even realize you are incarcerated. You press your face against the invisible walls and believe you are simply seeing the world as it is. Oh, Ken, but here is the most important truth in this entire journey, the one that can set you free. The architect who designed and built the prison also holds the blueprints, the tools, and the key to the door. That architect is you. The power was never taken from you. It was only forgotten. It was buried under layers of inherited programming and childhood conclusions. The power to be a conscious architect of your reality is your birthright. The work, then, is to become a conscious archaeologist of your own mind. You must be willing to take a flashlight and descend into the dusty basement of your own psyche. You must begin to excavate these foundational beliefs, drag them out of the darkness, and expose them to the brilliant, disinfecting light of your adult awareness. The practice begins with gentle, persistent questioning. Take a common belief that you suspect you hold, such as, "I have to work hard for my money." Stop treating it as an undeniable truth. Pick it up as if it were a strange object you have never seen before. Hold it in your conscious mind and ask it questions. Is this really, absolutely true? Is it true for every single person on the planet? Can I find even one example, anywhere in the world or in history, of a person who created immense wealth with joy, with ease, with inspiration? Who gave me this belief? Was it my father? My mother? Is their financial reality the one I wish to replicate? Is this belief serving me? Does it make me feel expansive and powerful, or contracted and tired? As you genuinely question the belief, without attacking it, something magical begins to happen. The belief will start to lose its energetic charge. It will feel less like a solid brick wall and more like a flimsy stage prop. It will start to feel like an opinion rather than a law. This is the beginning of its dissolution. You are withdrawing your power, your certainty, from it. And a belief with no energy behind it will eventually wither and die. As you embark on this brave excavation, you will make a startling discovery. You will shine your light on a core belief about your own worthiness, and you will suddenly realize "This is not my voice. This is my mother's fear speaking." You will uncover a belief about the evil of wealth, and you will recognize it as the echo of your religious upbringing. You will find that many of the core blueprints you have been using to build the prison of your life are not your own. They are old, faded, and were handed down to you without your consent. You are living in a house designed by the unhealed wounds of your parents, the fears of your grandparents, and the biases of your culture. You are carrying the financial karma and emotional burdens of your entire lineage. And so, before you can draw a new set of blueprints and begin building the palace you deserve, you must first perform a sacred act of release. You must consciously cancel the old contracts. You must lovingly but firmly give back the burdens that were never yours to carry. You must release the emotional mortgage and the inherited debt of the past. We have walked through the halls of our own minds and discovered a startling truth. The architect was not us. We are living in a house we did not design, a structure built from the old, faded blueprints of our ancestors, a home whose foundations are mortared with the fears and limitations of those who came before us. We carry their conclusions, we live out their unresolved struggles, and we are bound by their beliefs as if by invisible chains. This is the great, unspoken inheritance that every soul receives. It is the debt of the past. This is not a financial debt recorded in a ledger. It is a psychic and emotional debt, an energetic burden that we carry in our cells and in our souls. It is the unspoken family rule that says, in our family, we are hardworking people, not rich people, creating a conflict between belonging and succeeding. It is the silent anxiety around the dinner table when bills were discussed, an anxiety that became a part of your emotional atmosphere before you even knew what money was. It is the feeling of shame your mother felt when she couldn't afford something you wanted, a shame you unconsciously absorbed as your own. It is the angry outburst your father had about the wealthy, an outburst that taught you to equate wealth with moral corruption. Deeper still, there exists a strange and powerful subconscious loyalty that keeps us tethered to the financial narrative of our family. To financially surpass, our parents can feel, on a deep, irrational level, like a betrayal. It can feel like we are abandoning them, leaving them behind in the world of struggle they knew. And so, to remain loyal, to remain connected, we unconsciously sabotage our own success. We replicate their patterns of lack, not because we are incapable, but because we are deeply, powerfully loyal. We are honoring their struggle by repeating it. This inheritance is compounded by our own personal history, the business that failed, the investment that was lost, the period of overwhelming debt that left a scar of shame on your soul. These are not just memories. They are energetic anchors, heavy weights that keep a part of your consciousness tethered to the past, constantly replaying the moment of pain and reinforcing the belief that you are not capable, not trustworthy, not worthy of success. Imagine, for a moment, that you are sitting in a powerful, magnificent vehicle, a vehicle capable of taking you anywhere you wish to go. Your destination, a life of ease, joy, and abundance, is programmed into its navigation system. The engine, your life force, is running beautifully. You press the accelerator, and the engine roars with immense potential. Yet the car barely moves. It strains and shudders. Frustrated, you press harder, burning more fuel, creating more noise, more stress, more wear and tear on the system. Still, you only inch forward, exhausted and disheartened. You begin to blame the engine, curse the car, and despair of ever reaching your destination. But you have failed to notice one critical detail. Your other foot is still pressed firmly on the brake. That brake is the unresolved debt of your past. It is the immense weight of every inherited belief, every unspoken family loyalty, and every personal trauma you have not yet released. No amount of pressing the accelerator can overcome the power of a fully engaged brake. The first and most critical action is not to try harder, but to consciously, deliberately, take your foot off the brake. How do we do this? We perform a sacred act of conscious renunciation. This is not an act of anger or blame. To blame your parents for the beliefs they gave you is as pointless as blaming them for the color of their eyes. They did the best they could with the blueprints they themselves inherited from their parents. This process must be approached with immense compassion for them and for yourself. In fact, you honor them most deeply not by repeating their limitations, but by having the courage to transcend them, completing a journey they were unable to finish. I invite you to do this now, in the quiet sanctuary of your own mind. Find a space where you can be undisturbed for a few moments. Close your eyes. Take a deep, cleansing breath, and as you exhale, let go of the tensions of the day. Now, bring to mind your family lineage. See your parents, and behind them, your grandparents and their parents, stretching back in a long line. Do not focus on their flaws. See them simply as souls who lived and struggled, who loved and feared. Fill your heart with a sense of tenderness and gratitude for the simple gift of life that was passed down through them to you. Then, when you feel this connection of love, you speak the truth in your own mind, with a voice that is clear, firm, and compassionate. You say to them, "I love you, I honor you, I am grateful for the journey you took that allowed me to be here. I see your struggles, I acknowledge your fears, and I feel compassion for your hardships. But your journey is not my journey. Your fears are not my fears. Your beliefs about money, about struggle, about what is possible, are not my beliefs. The contracts are now void. The unspoken vows of loyalty are now dissolved. With love and with gratitude for the life you gave me, I now release this energetic inheritance. I respectfully give it all back to the earth to be composted and transformed. I set myself free. I set you free. My success is not a betrayal of you. It is the fulfillment of your deepest desire for your children. I take my foot off the brake. Breathe. Feel the truth of those words resonating through your being. You may feel a physical sensationa, lightness in your chest, a warmth spreading through your body, a tingling in your hands and feet. You might feel a wave of sadness or a sudden urge to take a deep, full breath for the first time in years. Allow whatever comes. This is your energy field recalibrating. It is the sound of the ancient chains falling away. It is the feeling of the heavy rocks tumbling out of your backpack. Now, let us turn that same compassionate gaze toward your own past. Bring to mind that financial mistake, that moment of failure or shame that you have been carrying for so long. See it clearly, but this time, do not identify with the person who made the mistake. See that younger version of you as a separate person. See their fear, their ignorance, their naivete. See how they were doing the best they could with the programming and the beliefs they had at that time. Extend your compassion to this younger self. Walk up to them in your mind, put your arms around them, and say, "I forgive you." Completely and unconditionally. You did the best you could with the knowledge and the awareness you had. The debt is now paid. The lesson has been learned. Your punishment is over. I release you from this moment. You are free. Feel the integration as that younger, wounded part of you is welcomed back into your heart, healed and whole. The anchor to the past has been lifted. When you perform these acts of conscious release, you are stepping onto clear, solid ground, perhaps for the first time in your adult life. The old excuses, the familiar stories of blame, are gone. You can no longer point to your upbringing or your past failures as the reason for your present circumstances. This is a moment of immense power, and it brings with it a profound responsibility. You are now free to choose. You are now at liberty to become the conscious architect of your life, to draw your own blueprints based on new, expansive, and empowering beliefs. This act of renunciation and release is a monumental step. It is like airing out a house that has been sealed for a century. But as the dust settles, you may find that some stubborn stains remain the stains of personal resentments, of lingering bitterness toward those who have wronged you, and the deep, sticky residue of self-blame. To deep clean these final stains, we must employ the most powerful spiritual solvent known to humanity. We must learn to wield the transformative power, the divine magic, that is the alchemy of forgiveness. We have courageously walked back through time, stood before our ancestors and our younger selves, and performed the sacred act of release. We have given back the burdens that were never ours to carry. The house of our consciousness is now cleared of its inherited clutter. But as the dust settles, we may find that the structure itself is still stained by the sharp, acidic residue of our own personal pains. The resentments, the betrayals, and the bitter disappointments still cling to the walls of our heart. To cleanse these final, stubborn stains, we must become alchemists. We must engage in a practice that has been profoundly misunderstood, an act often mistaken for weakness, when in fact it is the ultimate expression of personal power and spiritual intelligence. We must now learn the sacred science of the soul, the alchemy of forgiveness. Let us begin by demolishing the fragile, false idol of what we believe forgiveness to be. We have been taught that forgiveness is a moral duty, a favor we bestow upon the person who wronged us. We see it as condoning their behavior, as saying, "What you did was okay." We resist it because it feels like letting them off the hook while we are still carrying the pain. This entire framework is a lie. It keeps you trapped and makes forgiveness feel like a bitter pill to swallow. True, alchemical forgiveness has almost nothing to do with the other person. They may never know you have forgiven them. They may never apologize or change their ways. It does not matter. Forgiveness is not for them. Forgiveness is the ultimate act of self-love. It is the selfish, strategic, and powerful decision to reclaim your energy, your peace, and your creative power from a past event. It is the declaration that you will no longer allow a memory to consume your precious life force in the present moment. It is the act of taking your power back. The ancient sages taught that holding on to resentment is like grasping a burning coal with the intent of eventually throwing it at someone else. You wait for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity for revenge. But in the meantime, who is being burned? Whose hand is seared, scarred, and crippled by the intense heat? It is your own. Unforgiveness is a poison you drink daily, hoping the other person will suffer. But the poison circulates only within your own system. It flows through your blood, tightens your muscles, sours your thoughts, and manifests as bitterness, anxiety, physical illness, and a perpetual scowl on the face of your soul. From an energetic perspective, the cost is catastrophic. Every person you have not forgiven, including yourself, holds a piece of your vital energy hostage. They occupy prime real estate in your mind, living there rent-free, and you are the one paying the utilities. Think of the sheer volume of creative life force you expend every single day to maintain these grievances. The mental arguments you endlessly replay in the shower, the phantom conversations where you finally say the perfect comeback, the low-grade anger that simmers just beneath the surface, coloring every interaction. This is your abundance energy. This is the divine power you are meant to use to build your palace. And instead, it is being diverted to endlessly repair the walls of your own prison. Unforgiveness creates massive leaks in your energetic container. You can be doing all the right work, visualizing, affirming, creating vision boards, but it is like trying to fill a bucket riddled with holes. Your vital energy, the very substance of manifestation, is constantly draining away through these open, unhealed wounds of the past. Before you can fill your life with abundance, you must first heal the holes. So, who must we forgive? First, we forgive others. The business partner who cheated you, the friend who never paid you back, the family member who belittled your dreams. See that the event itself is over. It exists only as a memory. The pain you are feeling today is not caused by the event, which is gone. It is caused by your mind's relentless replaying of the event. You are the one keeping the wound fresh. Second, we forgive the world, God, or life itself. This is a subtle but powerful blockage for many spiritual seekers. We hold a cosmic grudge. We are angry that life has been so hard, that our prayers went unanswered, that our dreams did not manifest on our timeline. We feel cheated by the universe. This sense of cosmic injustice keeps us in a state of opposition to the very source of our abundance. To forgive life is to surrender your argument with reality, and to finally open yourself to the flow that was always there, waiting for you to stop fighting it. And now, we come to the most difficult, and therefore the most crucial, act of forgiveness. The forgiveness of self. You have judged yourself more harshly than anyone else ever could. For that one business failure, for that mountain of debt, for that moment of naivete, you have sentenced yourself to a life sentence of unworthiness in the prison of your own mind. You are the judge, the jury, and the jailer. You constantly punish yourself by denying yourself joy, peace, and abundance, believing on some deep level that you do not deserve it because of your past mistakes. It is time for the judge to show mercy. It is time to grant yourself a full and unconditional pardon. This is the alchemy. It is a process of turning the dense, heavy lead of resentment and guilt into the pure, shining gold of peace. The process is simple, but it is not passive. First, you acknowledge the pain. Do not bypass it. Do not pretend it didn't hurt. Forgiveness is not denial. In the privacy of your own heart, give the pain a voice. Say, "Yes, that was unjust. It hurt me deeply. I was angry. I was frightened." Let the wounded part of you feel heard and validated, perhaps for the first time. Second, recognize the cost. See clearly the price you are paying every single day to hold on to this grievance. See the energy it drains from you. See how it has kept you stuck. See how it has poisoned your relationships and your health. Make the conscious, deliberate decision that your peace of mind is more valuable than your story of being wronged. Third, perform the act of release. Close your eyes. Take a breath. Bring the person or the situation to mind. In your hand, feel the symbolic weight and heat of that burning coal of resentment. Now, with a conscious act of will, open your hand. Let the coal drop to the ground. Watch it burn itself out, turning into harmless ash. You are not handing it to the other person. You are not excusing them. You are simply letting it go. As you do this, speak these words silently. From the depths of your being, I have carried this burden long enough. The debt I thought you owed me is hereby canceled. It was poison to me, and I will drink it no more. I release you from this story. I release myself from the role of victim. I set you free, and in doing so, I set myself free. If you are forgiving yourself, you say, I see the choice I made. I see the pain it caused. I did the best I could with the awareness I had. The lesson is learned. The debt is paid. I am forgiven. I am free. Fourth, you must fill the space. Nature abhors a vacuum. The space in your energy field that was once occupied by the dense energy of resentment is now empty. You must consciously fill it with a higher vibration. Breathe golden light into that space. Breathe in peace. Breathe in compassion for the wounded part of yourself that carried that burden for so long. Fill yourself with the quiet, gentle hum of your own inner peace. When you practice this alchemy, the shifts are profound. The first fruit is peace, a quietness in your mind and a softness in your heart that you may not have felt for years. The second fruit is a surge of energy. The immense life force that was being used to suppress trauma and fuel your grievances is now available to you. It is pure, creative fuel, ready to be directed toward building the life you truly desire. And then, the mirror of your life begins to change. The world rearranges itself around your new, lighter frequency. People from your past may fade away, their role in your drama complete, or they may re-enter your life in a new, healed way. New opportunities appear, seemingly out of nowhere, because the channels of your energy are now clear and open to receive them. Through forgiveness, we have dropped the burning coals. We have patched the leaks in our energetic container. The riverbed of the mind has been swept clean of the heavy, painful debris of the past. The inner landscape is now clear, open, and receptive. So what is next? We have ceased the frantic activity of struggle and released the draining activity of resentment. The next step is not to immediately fill this new space with more doing. The next step is a sacred and powerful form of non-doing. We must learn to simply be with this new, clean slate. We must discover the profound, creative power that lies in silence. It is time to learn about the stillness that pays. In a world that worships action, that glorifies the hustle, and measures a person's worth by their productivity, what I am about to say may sound like the deepest heresy. Having cleared the debts of the past, having dropped the burning coals of unforgiveness, the most powerful, most creative, and most profitable thing you can now do is nothing. To enter a state of profound, conscious, and deliberate stillness. This is not the numb, distracted nothing of scrolling through a phone or the dull idleness of apathy. We are speaking of a sacred non-doing, a stillness that is not empty, but is instead alive, intelligent, and brimming with all potential. This is the ultimate paradox of creation. In the quiet chamber of the heart, where you do nothing at all, the most important work is accomplished. To understand its power, imagine your mind is the surface of a great lake. For most of your life, and for most of humanity, this lake has been in a constant state of agitation. The high winds of fear, the violent storms of anxiety, the ceaseless, nagging chatter of the ego have whipped its surface into a chaotic frenzy of waves. When the lake of your mind is turbulent, what can it reflect? It can only reflect a broken, distorted, and chaotic image of the sky above. You look to it for guidance, but you see only fractured light. You look for clarity, but you find only confusion. Furthermore, when the water is churning, it becomes murky and opaque. You cannot see into the depths of the lake itself, the incredible treasures that lie on its bottom, the sunken chests of profound insight, the ancient pearls of forgotten wisdom, the veins of pure gold that are your unique talents are completely obscured. All you are aware of is the turmoil on the surface. The world tells you that to find the treasure, you must dive headfirst into the churning water. It tells you to fight the currents, to frantically dig in the mud with your bare hands, to search desperately in the darkness. This is the paradigm of struggle. It is exhausting and it is futile. The sage, the true master of life, knows a better way. The sage does not fight the waves. The sage does not curse the wind. He simply sits by the shore of his own being. He withdraws his attention from the storm, and he waits for the winds to cease. He waits for the waters to grow still. And what happens when the lake of the mind is perfectly still? Two miracles occur simultaneously. First, its surface becomes a perfect, flawless mirror. It can now reflect the sky, the infinite intelligence of the universe, the mind of God with absolute, crystalline clarity. The solution to the problem that has plagued you for months, a problem you have tried to think your way through, now appears in your awareness, simple and obvious. The million-dollar idea, the perfect melody, the line of inspired poetry, the path to reconciliation, these things do not arise from the frantic, logical mind. They are reflected onto the calm surface of the receptive mind. They are a gift from the sky, available only to the lake that is still enough to receive the reflection. Second, as the surface calms, the sediment settles. The water becomes clear. For the first time, you can see all the way to the bottom, and you see the treasures that were always there, lying in wait. You realize they were never lost or absent. They were simply hidden by your own inner turmoil. The frantic search was not only unnecessary, it was the very thing preventing you from seeing what you already possessed. This is how stillness pays. Its dividends are immeasurable. In the silence, the deafening noise of your own panicked ego subsides, and you can finally hear the subtle, intelligent whisper of your intuition. This is the voice that knows the shortcut, the voice that can sense danger and opportunity long before your rational mind can. The voice of intuition is your direct line to the universal intelligence, but it does not shout. It can only be heard in the quiet. Stillness also pays by conserving and restoring your energy. The constant mental chatter of worry, planning, strategizing, and replaying the past is an immense drain on your vital life force. It is like running dozens of complex software programs in the background of your computer, slowing the whole system down and draining its battery. Stillness is the act of closing all unnecessary programs. It is plugging your entire system back into the universal power source. You will emerge from 20 minutes of deep silence with more usable, creative, and focused energy than you would from 3 hours of anxious, caffeine-fueled work. Moreover, in the stillness, many of your so-called problems simply dissolve. You come to realize that the vast majority of your problems are not real-world situations, but are mental emotional artifacts created and sustained by an overactive, fearful mind. They are phantoms that feed on your attention. When you withdraw your attention from them and place it on the silence of the present moment, the phantoms starve. They dissipate like morning mist in the sunlight. You discover you do not need to find a solution, because the problem itself was an illusion. So how do we practice this? This is not a complex discipline reserved for monks on mountaintops. It is your birthright. The most direct path into stillness is the practice of meditation, which is simply the act of becoming aware of your own awareness. Find a quiet place. Sit comfortably, with your spine erect but not stiff. Close your eyes. Your only task is to choose an anchor for your attention, something that is happening right now. Your breath is the most faithful anchor you have, for it is always with you in the present moment. Do not try to control your breath. Simply feel the physical sensation of it. Feel the cool air entering your nostrils, the slight expansion of your chest and belly, and the warm air leaving your body. Rest your entire attention on this simple rhythmic sensation. Now, the mind will wander. This is not a mistake. It is not a sign that you are bad at meditation. It is simply the nature of the mind. Its job is to think, just as the heart's job is to beat. When you notice that your mind has wandered to a memory, a to-do list, a worry, that moment of noticing is a moment of pure gold. It is a flash of awareness. In that moment, you are awake. Do not judge or scold yourself. Simply and with great kindness, as you would guide a lost puppy back home, gently escort your attention back to the feeling of your breath. That is the entire practice. Back and forth, wandering, noticing, returning. The goal is not to achieve a perfectly empty mind. That is a myth that discourages many. The goal is to become the calm, non-judgmental witness to the traffic of your own mind. To realize that you are not the thoughts, you are not the emotions, you are not the waves on the surface. You are the deep, silent, expansive ocean beneath. You are the stillness itself. As you spend more time in this silent sanctuary, as the waters of your mind become consistently clearer and calmer, you will begin to see the treasures on the bottom of the lake more clearly. You will see your own wisdom, your own strength, your own unique gifts, and then you will make the most profound discovery of this entire journey. You will see that the greatest treasure is not something you need to acquire from the outside world. It is not an idea that will make you $1 million or a future opportunity that will save you. You will realize with a certainty that fills every cell of your being that the ultimate treasure has been there all along. It is the very substance of the lake bed itself. It is the inherent richness, the infinite value of your own conscious being. You will finally understand, in a way that transcends all intellectual knowledge, the profound and liberating truth of the wealth you already are. In the profound, luminous silence of the still mind, a great revelation occurs. The frantic search ends. It ends not because the prize has been found, but because the seeker finally awakens to the realization that they have been searching for something they have never been without. This is the moment the fish discovers it is in water. It is the moment the sunbeam realizes it is made of sun. It is the discovery that lies at the heart of all spiritual traditions and is the master key to all creation. The ultimate secret to attracting wealth is to realize that you are wealth, not that you will be wealthy one day. Not that you are becoming wealthy, but that you are, right now, in your very essence, the thing itself. For your entire life, you have been conditioned to believe the opposite. You have been taught that you are a separate, lacking individual, and that wealth is something out there. It is a stack of paper, a number in an account, a collection of assets that you must strive, struggle, and sacrifice to acquire. You were taught that you begin at zero, and you must work your way into the positive. This paradigm, the paradigm of the seeker, is the root cause of all financial anxiety and suffering. The seeker, by definition, exists in a state of lack. The very act of seeking reinforces the belief that you do not yet have. And since the universe is a perfect mirror, it can only reflect back to you the evidence of your own belief, more lack and more reasons to keep seeking. It is a perfect, self-sustaining loop of dissatisfaction. To break this spell, we must use a new image. Imagine a single, beautiful wave on the surface of a vast, limitless ocean. This little wave has been taught that its sole purpose in life is to find and acquire something called the ocean. It looks at the other, bigger waves with envy, thinking they must be closer to achieving this grand goal. It hears tales of legendary waves who became one with the ocean, and it strives to emulate them. It crashes upon the shore in a flurry of effort, trying to prove its worthiness, hoping the ocean will finally notice and reward it. The wave is terrified of its own end, believing that when it recedes from the shore, it will disappear into nothingness. Its entire brief life is a state of anxious, striving, competition, and existential fear, all based on one fundamental, tragic misunderstanding. Then one day, in a moment of unusual calm, the wave stops struggling. It ceases its frantic motion. For the first time, it simply feels its own nature. It feels the vast, deep, powerful, and silent presence that moves it, that holds it, that gives it form, and that is its very substance. In that instant of pure feeling, the wave has a revelation that shatters its entire worldview. I am not in the ocean, it realizes. I am ocean. The very stuff I am made of is the thing I have been desperately seeking. My form as a wave is temporary, but my essence as ocean is eternal and limitless. The big waves are not separate from me, they are just different expressions of me. My crashing on the shore is not an end, but simply my nature expressing itself. You are that wave, your personality, your body, your name, your history. This is the temporary, beautiful, and unique form of the wave. But your essence, the conscious, living awareness that is looking out through your eyes and feeling these words in your heart, the silent, intelligent presence that animates you, is the ocean of all being. It is the field of infinite potential from which all things arise. It is pure, unadulterated, absolute wealth. This is not poetry. It is the literal truth. What is the original wealth? Is it not life itself? The animating force that beats your heart and breathes your lungs without any effort from you is a direct flow from the infinite treasury of the universe. To be alive is to be indescribably wealthy. The simple fact that you are aware that you can witness a sunrise, that you can hear music, that you can feel the warmth of a fire is the greatest miracle and the greatest fortune in the cosmos. The consciousness that powers your mind is the same intelligent energy that patterns the galaxies. It is without price. The power of your imagination, the ability to hold a vision in your mind of a reality that does not yet exist, is the divine faculty of creation itself. It is the womb of all material riches. You have been a billionaire your entire life, complaining that you are broke. You have been searching for a sip of water while standing at the bottom of the ocean. The work, then, is not to get more. The work is to shift your identity. The foundational thought of the seeker is, I am a person who needs to get wealth. This is a frequency of lack. The foundational thought of the master is, I am wealth itself, experiencing life as a person. This is the frequency of being. This is not a clever affirmation or a word game. It is the most profound shift in identity you can ever make. When you know yourself not as a person in need, but as abundance itself in form, your entire energetic signature changes. The needy, grasping, anxious energy dissolves. It is replaced by a calm, confident, magnetic frequency of I am. You stop chasing and you start attracting. When the wave realizes it is the ocean, does it stop moving? Number. But it stops struggling. It moves with the effortless power and grace of the entire ocean behind it. It acts not from a place of desperate need, but from a place of joyful expression. When you realize you are wealth, you do not stop working or creating, but you do it from an entirely new place. You become more generous with your time and resources, because you know your source is infinite. You take inspired risks, because you are no longer crippled by the terror of loss. You see opportunities for abundance everywhere, because you are no longer wearing the dark glasses of scarcity. And then, a miracle occurs. Money and material things are drawn to you, easily and effortlessly. They come not as a prize you have won through struggle, but as a natural consequence of your own resonant frequency. They are attracted to you because you are their source. Metal filings are not attracted to a piece of wood. They are attracted to a magnet. By identifying with the wealth you already are, you become a magnet for its outer expression. Money comes to you because it is coming home. This is not a truth to be understood once and then filed away. It is a state to be lived and felt moment by moment. It is a new home for your consciousness. The practice is simple presence. Throughout your day, in any given moment, pause. Feel the life in your hands as you hold a cup of coffee. Feel the air moving in and out of your lungs. Feel the simple, silent background awareness that is always there, witnessing your life. This is the ocean. And in that moment of recognition, declare silently, but with absolute conviction in your heart, I am wealth. Feel the truth of it. Not the arrogant pride of the ego, but the quiet, profound, unshakable certainty of the soul. Let this feeling, this knowing, be the new foundation of your reality. Let it be the background music to your entire day. You are not trying to convince yourself of something. You are simply remembering what you forgot. This profound realization, this shift in identity from the seeker to the source, is the solid ground upon which your new life will be built. It is the ultimate truth of your being. But knowing this truth in the stillness of your heart and using it as a deliberate, creative force in the world are two different things. Now that you know you are wealth, you must learn to speak the language of creation. You must learn how to take this universal, inner state of I am and shape it into a specific, powerful, magnetic feeling that the universe can respond to. You must learn the secret that all mystics and masters have known, that the universe does not respond to your words or your thoughts, but to the focused vibration of your heart. It is time to learn that the feeling is the prayer. We have arrived at a place of profound understanding. We have turned from the mirror to the source. We have quieted the mind to hear the whispers of the soul. We now stand on the solid foundation of our own inherent wealth, knowing that we are not seekers of abundance, but abundance itself in human form. This knowledge is the foundation. Now, we must learn to build upon it. Now, we move from the state of being to the act of conscious creating. To do this, we must become fluent in the native language of the cosmos. This is not a language of words, which are often hollow symbols, nor is it a language of thoughts, which are often chaotic and contradictory. It is the primal, universal language of vibration, of resonance, of pure emotion. It is the language of feeling. For centuries, humanity has prayed with words, begging and pleading with an external God for intervention. We have tried to reason with the universe, to bargain with it, to think our way to a better life. All of this is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of the creative process. The universe does not respond to your words. It does not respond to your logic. It responds to the vibrational signature of your heart. Your feeling state is the prayer that is always, unfailingly answered. Think of it this way. Your thoughts are the architectural blueprint for your desire. The words of an affirmation may sketch out the design, but a blueprint alone has never built a house. It is a powerless drawing. It is the feeling, the emotion, that is the electric current. It is the power that flows through the blueprint and commands the builders of the universe to begin construction. You can repeat affirmations of wealth 1,000 times a day, but if you feel poor, anxious, and desperate while you are saying them, you are praying for poverty with the full force of your heart, while only whispering for wealth with the weakness of your lips. The universe, which is an impartial amplifier of energy, always answers the louder, more powerful prayer, the prayer of your feeling. To grasp this law, imagine that every possible reality you can conceive of exists right now as a potential broadcast, like an infinite number of radio stations. There is a frequency for poverty and struggle. There is a frequency for just getting by. There is a frequency for comfortable security. And there is a frequency for overflowing, joyous, limitless abundance. The universe, the great is constantly broadcasting all of these stations simultaneously, without judgment. Your heart, your predominant feeling state, is the exquisitely sensitive tuner on this cosmic radio. The feeling you are embodying at any given moment is the precise frequency you are tuned to. This is not a metaphor. It is the physics of consciousness. You simply cannot tune your dial to the frequency of 98.7 FM, the stridation of anxiety, doubt, and lack and hope, to hear the beautiful symphony being broadcast on 103.5 FM, the stridation of ease, trust, and abundance. It is a law. The radio does not judge you for your choice of station. It simply and perfectly delivers the broadcast that matches the frequency it is set to. In the same way, the universe does not reward or punish you. It simply and unfailingly delivers to you the life circumstances and events that perfectly match the feeling frequency you are consistently broadcasting. So, the creative act is not one of striving, but of tuning. The great mystics and masters of reality understood this perfectly. They taught that we must not pray for a thing, but pray from the state of already being and having the thing. This is the art of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is not about faking it or lying to yourself. It is a sovereign act of creative imagination, which is the workshop of God. The process begins not with the question, "What do I want?" That question comes from a place of lack. The true creative question is this: what would it feel like if my desire were already a present fact? What feeling would be yours? Close your eyes for a moment and truly contemplate this. If your financial worries were suddenly and permanently gone, what would be the dominant feeling? Would it be a wild, screaming excitement? Or would it be a deep, quiet, profound sense of relief? Would it be the feeling of freedom, of your shoulders dropping an invisible weight you have carried for years? Would it be a feeling of profound security, a quiet confidence that all is well? Identify the specific emotional flavor of your wish fulfilled. Name it. Is it peace? Is it ease? Is it freedom? Once you have identified the feeling, your only work is to practice embodying that feeling, here and now, without waiting for the outside world to give you permission. You do not just think about relief. You generate the actual physical sensation of relief in your body. You find a quiet moment. You close your eyes, and you allow the feeling of your problem being solved to wash over you. You feel your jaw unclench. You feel your stomach relax. You breathe the deep, contented sigh of a person whose struggles are over. You are not celebrating a future victory. You are inhabiting the emotional state of a present reality. You marinate your consciousness in this feeling until it begins to feel familiar, even natural. This is the true prayer. You are tuning your dial to the station you wish to experience. It is crucial to understand the difference between the feeling of wanting something and the feeling of having it. The feeling of wanting, of longing, of desire, is a powerful prayer for the continuation of wanting. It is a vibrational statement of absence. When you feel intense wanting, you are telling the universe with great passion, "I do not have this," and the universe, the perfect mirror, faithfully responds, "You are right. You do not have this." The feeling of having, however, is a prayer of gratitude, of being, of fulfillment. It is a quiet, confident statement of presence. It tells the universe, "I am this. This is who I am." And the universe faithfully responds, "You are right," and so it is. This practice of feeling is not meant to be confined to a 5-minute meditation session. The goal is to learn to live in the emotional home of your answered prayer. As you go about your day driving your car, buying groceries, talking to your family, you can continually ask yourself, how would I be doing this if my greatest desire were already a fact? How would I be walking right now? What would my posture be like? How would I be breathing? Would I be rushing anxiously or moving with a calm, deliberate sense of purpose? You begin to act as if, not as a performance for others, but as a discipline of embodying your new vibrational truth for yourself. You are stabilizing your frequency. By mastering your feeling state, you are tuning the sacred instrument of your soul to the frequency of your desire. You are sending out a clear, powerful, coherent, and magnetic signal into the field of potential. You are calling your good to you, not with words of begging, but with the irresistible resonance of like attracting like. This feeling work is the primary, essential act of creation. But this new, sacred feeling is like a newborn child. It is precious and powerful, but it is also vulnerable. It must be protected. It must be housed in a structure of consistent thought and congruent language. Your own inner conversations and the words you speak aloud must now become the faithful guardians of this new feeling, not its saboteurs. You must now learn to use your words, not to describe the reality your senses currently perceive, but to build a fortress around the new reality you have chosen to feel. It is time to learn how to speak your world into existence. We have tuned the heart. We have anchored ourselves in the sacred, creative feeling of the wish fulfilled. This silent, magnetic prayer is the primary cause, the signal that organizes the field of potential around our desire. But this tender new feeling, this precious, embryonic reality, must be nurtured and protected. It is born into a world that constantly bombards our senses with evidence of the contrary. The bills still arrive. The bank account balance may not have changed. The old world clamors for our attention, trying to pull us back into the old feeling state. The guardian of your new reality, the fortress that protects your sacred feeling from the assault of doubt, is your word. In the beginning of every creation story ever told, from the most ancient scriptures to the most modern metaphysical texts, there is the word. Let there be light. This is not a quaint myth. It is a divine formula. It reveals that after the initial conception or feeling, the word is the active agent that commands form to appear out of the formless. Your word, spoken with the conviction of your new feeling state, is a creative command. It is a decree that reality must obey. We are engaged in two conversations, constantly. The first is the conversation we have with others. The second, and infinitely more powerful, is the conversation we have with ourselves. For most of our lives, both conversations have been dedicated to describing and reinforcing what is. We look at our empty bank account and say, "I'm so broke." We see someone else's success and mutter, "Some people get all the luck." We look at a desired object and sigh, "I could never afford that." We believe we are simply describing reality, but we are actually sustaining it with our words. We are casting a powerful spell of limitation over ourselves, again and again. But more powerful, more constant, and more creative than any word you speak aloud is the silent, unceasing conversation you have with yourself from the moment you wake to the moment you fall asleep. This inner dialogue is the true loom upon which the fabric of your life is woven, thread by thread, moment by moment. It is a constant prayer, a ceaseless incantation that shapes your perception and directs your energy. Until now, that inner conversation has likely been an ally of your old reality, a constant commentary on your problems, your fears, and your limitations. Now, you must enlist it as the primary guardian of your new reality. To understand this, imagine a master sculptor standing before a raw, formless block of marble. The untrained eye sees only stone, heavy and inert. But the sculptor, in his mind's eye, already sees the magnificent statue sleeping within it. His vision of the finished work, the graceful curve, the lifelike expression, the perfect formus, a complete and total reality in his imagination. He has captured the feeling of the finished piece. Now, his work with the chisel begins. The sculptor's job is not to create the statue. The statue already exists perfectly in his vision. His job is simply to chip away and remove the pieces of marble that are not the statue. His chisel is his tool of revelation. Your inner conversation is your chisel. The block of marble is the infinite potential of the present moment. Your feeling of the wish fulfilled is your perfect vision of the statue. Your inner talk is the tool you must now use to chip away everything in your awareness that is not in harmony with your vision. Most people use their chisel backwards. They stand before the block of their current circumstances, and their inner talk is only about the stone. This is so hard. It's so heavy. It will never be anything but a rock. Look at this rough edge. Look at this imperfection. With every critical, descriptive word, they are reinforcing the reality of the stoneness, making it more solid and more real, and driving the vision of the statue deeper into the realm of impossibility. The master, however, having captured the feeling of the finished work, speaks from that reality. His inner talk is not, "I hope this becomes a beautiful statue." His inner talk is, "Now I reveal the perfect curve of the arm. Now I uncover the gentle expression of the face." He is speaking of what he knows to be true in the unseen world of his vision, and by doing so, he makes it manifest in the world of stone. You must become this master sculptor of your life. And the practice begins with eavesdropping on the current sculptor's unconscious mind. For one day, become a spy in the workshop of your own mind. Listen, without judgment, to the automatic conversations that run through your head regarding money, abundance, and success. When you look at your bills, what does the voice say? When you see a display of luxury, what is the immediate, unedited commentary? When you think about your goals, is the inner voice one of encouragement or of doubt? You must become aware of the old, disempowering script before you can consciously rewrite it. The next step is the art of revision, a powerful technique taught by the great 20th century mystic Neville Goddard. You do not fight the negative thought. Fighting it gives it energy. Instead, you revise it. You rewrite the mental scene. The moment you catch yourself thinking, "I'll never be able to afford that," you stop. You consciously revise the thought. In your imagination, you hear yourself thinking, "That is beautiful. I will have that." Or simply, "All my needs are met in abundance." Then, most importantly, you feel the quiet confidence and peace that would accompany that new thought. You are not lying to yourself. You are being loyal to a higher truth, the truth of your vision, over the temporary facts of your current reality. From this practice of revision, you graduate to conscious creation. You begin to deliberately craft the inner conversations that align with your fulfilled desire. Instead of your mind being a looped recording of your problems, it becomes a prayer of gratitude for the solution. Your inner chatter shifts from, "How will I ever pay this bill?" to, "Thank you that all my needs are always met with divine surplus." It shifts from, "I need to find more clients," to, "I am so grateful for the wonderful clients who are seeking me out right now." You speak to yourself from the end result. This is the meaning behind the word incantation. Your words cast a spell. The word spelling itself tells you the secret. You are literally spelling out your reality into existence, one thought, one word, one sentence at a time. The question is no longer if you are casting spells, you are doing it all day long. The only question is, are you casting spells of lack, or are you casting spells of abundance? An affirmation, when spoken with the feeling of its truth, is a conscious incantation designed to enchant your world into a new form. When your feeling state and your inner conversation are in perfect harmony, you have created a powerful, coherent, and magnetic vortex. You have become a unified creative being. Your inner reality is now stable, protected by the words you speak and the feelings you embody. You are no longer a house divided against itself, but you still live in a physical world. What about action? As your inner world solidifies, the universe will begin to move. It will present you with opportunities, nudge you with new ideas, and fill you with urges to move in certain directions. This is a critical juncture, for here we must learn the crucial difference between the frantic, fearful motion of the ego and the calm, powerful movement of the soul. We must learn to distinguish between anxious, desperate striving and graceful, potent, inspired action. The inner work is done. The feeling of the wish fulfilled has been cultivated and is now your new emotional home. The inner conversation has been rewritten, and your words now act as the faithful guardians of your vision. A state of quiet, powerful certainty now begins to pervade your being. In this calm, clear space, a question born of a lifetime of conditioning naturally arises. So, what do I do now? Our culture has so deeply ingrained the gospel of hustle, the religion of the grind, that a state of non-struggle can feel profoundly uncomfortable, even wrong. We have been taught that our value is a direct result of our effort, and that success is a fortress to be conquered through relentless, exhausting assault. To simply be, to trust, to allow these concepts feel passive and irresponsible to the conditioned mind. We must now bring the same level of conscious awareness to our actions that we have brought to our feelings and our thoughts. For you must understand this with absolute clarity. Not all action is created equal. There is a world of difference between the depleting motion of struggle and the powerful motion of grace. There is anxious striving, and there is inspired action. Anxious striving is the action of the ego. It is born from the cold, hard soil of fear and doubt. Its root belief is, it is all up to me. If I do not make this happen, it will not happen. The universe is indifferent, and I am alone. This belief system fuels a life of frantic, draining activity. It is the energy of forcing, controlling, manipulating, and struggling. It is sending 100 resumes with a tight feeling in your stomach. It is making endless cold calls fueled by the terror of not making your quota. It is working 18-hour days not out of passion, but out of a deep-seated fear of failure and poverty. The energy of anxious striving is heavy, brittle, and desperate. And the universe, being a perfect mirror, reflects this desperate energy back to you as circumstances that require even more struggle, more effort, and more anxiety. Inspired action, on the other hand, is the action of the soul. It is born from the fertile ground of trust and alignment. Its root belief is, I have done the primary work within myself. I have aligned with the reality I choose, and I know that I am a co-creator with an intelligent universe that is now arranging circumstances on my behalf. Inspired action is not fueled by adrenaline and fear, but by joy, curiosity, and a sense of flow. It is the energy of allowing, receiving, and responding. It is the sudden urge to call an old friend you haven't spoken to in years, who then tells you about a perfect opportunity. It is a spontaneous idea for a new product or service that seems to arrive fully formed in your mind. It is feeling inexplicably drawn to a certain bookstore, where a book falls off the shelf that contains the exact answer you have been looking for. To make the distinction visceral, Imagine you are in a small boat. Your desired destination is a beautiful, sunlit harbor far downstream. The paradigm of anxious striving is believing that the river's current is against you, or at best, that the river is a dead, stagnant thing you must conquer. It is grabbing the oars and rowing with all your might, your muscles burning, sweat pouring from your brow, your heart pounding with strain. For every 10 feet of excruciating effort, you feel the drag of resistance pulling you back 9. You are exhausted, resentful of the river, and you make almost no progress. This is the life of the person who believes it is all up to them. Now, imagine you are in the same boat, in the same river, but you have done the inner work. You know with unshakable certainty that the river of life is flowing towards your destination. You also know there is another, greater force at play, the wind. Inspired action is the simple, quiet, and effortless act of raising your sail. You do not create the wind. You do not control the wind. You cannot command it. Your only job is to make yourself available to it. And the wind, which is the responsive, intelligent force of the universe, recognizes your sail, fills it, and begins to move your boat swiftly, silently, and gracefully toward your harbor. You are not idle. You are alert, holding the rudder, making small, intuitive adjustments. The action is joyful, not strenuous. You are in a dance with the elements. How then do you recognize inspired action? How do you know if it is the wind of the universe or the fear of your ego telling you to move? You must learn to read the feeling behind the impulse. Inspired action feels light and easy. It does not feel like a heavy should or a burdensome obligation. It feels like a light, curious, what if, or a gentle, I feel like. Inspired action is often spontaneous. It does not arise from a laborious, logical pro and con list. It lands in your awareness as a sudden hunch, a flash of insight that feels clear and right, even if you can't explain why. Inspired action is joyful, or at the very least peaceful. There is a distinct absence of anxiety in its execution. You are not motivated by fear of what will happen if you don't do it. You are pulled forward by a sense of pleasant curiosity about what will happen if you do it. Inspired action often makes no logical sense to your rational mind. Your ego might not understand why you suddenly feel the urge to drive a different route home or to attend a lecture on a topic you know nothing about. You must learn to trust this non-linear, intuitive guidance over the limited calculations of your intellect. Inspired action unfolds step by step. The universe rarely gives you the entire 100-step plan at once, because your rational mind would likely panic and try to control the process. It gives you just the next step. It is like driving a car at night. Your headlights only illuminate the next 200 feet of road, but with that small patch of light, you can safely travel the entire country. Your job is not to see the harbor. Your job is to take the next, simple, inspired step that is illuminated before you. Once you have successfully occupied the feeling of your wish fulfilled, the universe begins to construct what the mystic Neville Goddard called a bridge of incidents to lead you to its physical manifestation. These incidents, these inspired actions, are the planks and cables of that invisible bridge. The phone call you feel urged to make, the coincidental meeting with a key person, the article you feel drawn to read, these are the components of the bridge being assembled for you. Your only job is to trust the structure and walk across it as it appears before you, step by gentle step. What do you do if you feel no inspiration, no urge to act? Then you do nothing. Your stillness is your action. A lack of impulse means that the universe is still arranging things behind the scenes on your behalf. To force action when none is inspired is to jump out of the boat and try to push it from behind. It is inefficient and counterproductive. Be patient. Remain in your state of trust. Continue to marinate in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. The impulse to raise your sail will come, and when it does, it will be unmistakable. By learning to distinguish between these two forms of action, and by trusting and acting upon the gentle, joyful impulses of inspiration, you are entering into a conscious dance with the creative force of life. You are graduating from being a lone warrior, fighting against the world, to being a graceful dance partner, moving in perfect harmony with a power that is infinitely greater than you are. You begin to realize, with growing certainty, that you are not in this alone. There is a vast, silent, and infinitely intelligent power that is working with you, for you, and through you. It is time to be formally introduced to your co-creator, the force that puts the wind in your sails. It is time to meet the universe as your silent partner. We are learning to dance with life. We have learned to distinguish the frantic, fearful movements of the ego from the calm, graceful steps of the soul. We are learning to raise our sail to the wind of inspiration. But every great dance requires a partner. For too long, humanity has believed it is dancing alone on a cold, indifferent stage, under the silent gaze of an empty cosmos. This deep, painful belief in our cosmic solitude is the hidden root of all striving, fear, and the desperate need to control. It is time now to dismantle this final great illusion. It is time to be formally introduced to your partner in this dance of creation. This partner is silent, invisible, and possesses infinite power, knowledge, and resources. This partner is the universe itself. Let us reimagine your life. Discard the old model of a solo struggle against the odds. Instead, see your life as a sacred joint venture, a divine partnership. This partnership is between two entities: your conscious, focused mind, which we will call the junior partner, and the infinite, organizing intelligence of the universe, which we will call the senior partner. Like any successful business, this partnership has a clear and essential division of labor. Your confusion and struggle arise from a misunderstanding of your specific role. Your job, as the junior partner, is singular, specific, and of the utmost importance. Your job is to decide what you want to create. You are the creative director of this venture. Your role is to get crystal clear on the vision, the end result, the desired destination. You do this by choosing a reality and then, as we have learned, entering into the feeling of that reality as if it were already a present fact. You decide you want to create a life of joyful, abundant freedom. You then do the inner work of embodying that specific feeling tone. That is your entire contribution, and it is everything. You are in charge of the what. The universe, your senior partner, has a different and vastly more complex role. The senior partner's job is to handle the how. The senior partner is the master logistician, the grand strategist, the silent operator with access to all people, all resources, all knowledge, and all possible pathways across all of space and time. Once you have clearly and consistently provided the what through your feeling state, the senior partner takes that energetic blueprint and begins the masterful work of organizing reality to match it. It arranges the synchronicities. It orchestrates the chance meetings. It whispers the inspired ideas into your stilled mind. It dissolves obstacles you never even knew were in your path. It builds the bridge of incidents that will lead you, step by step, to your destination. The how, the specific details, the timing, the sequence of events is not, and has never been, your concern. For the junior partner to worry about the how is the equivalent of a local branch manager trying to micromanage the global supply chain of an infinitely powerful corporation. It is inefficient, arrogant, and produces profound and unnecessary stress. Your attempt to figure out the how is a signal of distrust to your senior partner, and it introduces static and resistance into a perfectly designed system. To make this tangible, think of the process like placing an order from a vast, cosmic, online retail-era universal source that can deliver anything. You browse the infinite catalog of possibilities within your own imagination. You select the item you desire not with the click of a button, but with a clear intention and a focused, sustained feeling. This is you choosing your what, Next, you must pay for the item. The currency, as we know, is not money. The currency is your faith, expressed as the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You generate the feeling of already owning and enjoying your desire. That potent feeling is the payment that sets the entire, vast delivery system into motion. Your very being, your energetic signature, is the delivery address. Now, once you have placed your order and paid for it with your feeling, what is your job? Do you obsess over the logistics? Do you pace back and forth, worrying about which warehouse it will ship from, which truck it will be on, or the specific route the driver will take? Do you call the company every 5 minutes, anxiously asking, "Is it there yet? Why isn't it here yet?" Of course not. To do so would be absurd. It would demonstrate a complete lack of faith in the company's ability to deliver. Your only job, after placing the order, is to trust the system. You go about your life with the calm, happy expectation that your package is on its way. You have faith in the senior partner's logistics department. You hold the feeling of gratitude for a delivery that you know is inevitable. And then, one day, through a series of coincidences and inspired actions, the doorbell of your life rings. The delivery has arrived. It may not always arrive in the exact box you pictured or be delivered by the carrier you anticipated. The universe is infinitely more creative than you are, but the essential nature of what you ordered will be there. This partnership is simple, but we, in our complexity, often sabotage it. The first mistake, as we have seen, is micromanaging the how. The moment you start obsessing over where the money will come from, you are grabbing the steering wheel from your senior partner, and you will likely drive the car into a ditch. Your worry is a prayer for more things to worry about. The second mistake is constantly changing your order. One day you are feeling the joy of creative freedom. The next day, you are overcome with fear and are feeling the desperation of paying your bills. The next, you are envious of a friend and are feeling the lack of a relationship. You are sending a jumble of contradictory orders to the cosmic warehouse. The senior partner, receiving this chaotic stream of information, cannot deliver anything with clarity. You must be clear and consistent in your chosen what. The third mistake is to stand by the window, anxiously looking for the delivery truck. This act of constant, needy searching is a powerful, energetic statement of doubt. It is a vibration that says, "I don't really believe it's coming." You must learn to let go, to trust so completely that you can turn your attention to enjoying your life in the present moment, confident that your order is being processed. So how do you build this profound trust in a partner who is silent and invisible? You start small. Do not begin by trying to manifest $1 billion by next Tuesday. That is like trying to lift 1,000 pounds without ever having been to the gym. You must build your trust muscle. Start with something you can easily believe. Set an intention. My silent partner and I will now arrange for a perfect parking spot right in front of the store. Then feel the small, simple relief of that being true and let it go. When you arrive and the spot is there, acknowledge it. Thank you, partner. Intend to receive an unexpected check in the mail. Intend for someone to give you a sincere compliment. When these small demonstrations occur, you are gathering evidence. It is wise to keep a journal of this evidence, a logbook of these small miracles. By documenting the tangible proof of your partner's work, you build an irrefutable case for its power and its reliability. Your faith ceases to be blind and becomes a certainty based on experience. When you truly embrace this partnership, a profound sense of peace descends upon your life. You are relieved of the crushing, impossible burden of having to figure everything out, of having to control the world. You can finally relax. You can breathe. You understand that you are profoundly and infinitely supported. Your only job is to remain clear in your vision and faithful to your feeling. As you master this, the deliveries will begin to arrive more frequently. The doorbell of your life will start to ring with opportunities, gifts, ideas, and blessings. And this brings us to the final, and for many, the most surprisingly difficult step in this entire creative process. When the package arrives, You must be home to answer the door. You must be willing to sign for it. You must learn how to take the package into your own hands. You must master the profound and often neglected spiritual discipline of learning how to receive. For many of us have been taught how to give, but not how to graciously accept the very gifts that our silent partner so eagerly wants to bestow upon us. It is time now to learn that receiving is a sacred act. The partnership is now established. The clear signal of your feeling state has been broadcast into the field of all possibility, and your silent partner, the universe, in its infinite power and intelligence, has begun its masterful work. The cosmic gears are turning. The bridge of incidence is being constructed. And then, the doorbell of your life begins to ring. It may be a quiet ring at first, a small opportunity, a chance meeting, an unexpected check for a small amount. And what happens next? When the delivery arrives at your door, do you open it wide with joy and welcome it in? Or do you, out of some strange, deeply ingrained, and self-sabotaging reflex, peek through the curtains and pretend you are not home? For a vast number of people on a spiritual path, this is the most surprising and difficult hurdle. We are often taught that it is noble to give, but we are rarely taught how to receive. We have mastered the art of pushing energy out, but we are profoundly unskilled at letting energy in. This imbalance is one of the most subtle and powerful blocks to the flow of abundance. The truth is, your ability to receive determines the ultimate volume of what the universe can give you. Why is receiving so difficult? The resistance is rooted in the deepest programs of the conditioned mind. At its core is the stubborn, pervasive weed of unworthiness. It is the silent background hum that says, "I haven't earned this. I don't deserve this. This is too good for me." When a gift arrives, it contradicts this core program, creating immense internal discomfort. To avoid this discomfort, we reject the gift. Entangled with unworthiness is the fear of indebtedness. We have been taught that nothing is free, that every gift comes with invisible strings attached. To receive something is to be placed in a position of obligation, to be indebted to the giver. This feels like a loss of freedom and power, so we refuse the gift to maintain our sense of autonomy, not realizing we are actually choosing the prison of lack over the freedom of flow. Furthermore, our ego often builds its entire identity around being the giver. We pride ourselves on being the strong one, the capable one, the one who helps others but never needs help themselves. To be in a position of receiving can feel threatening to this identity. It feels like an admission of weakness or need. And so we deflect, we refuse, we insist, no, I'm fine, all to prop up a fragile sense of self, while simultaneously shutting the door on the very help and abundance we have prayed for. The most common and visible training ground for this self-sabotage is in the simple act of receiving a compliment. Someone says, "You did an incredible job on that project." The conditioned response is to immediately devalue the gift. "Oh, it was nothing really. The team did all the work." Someone says, "You look beautiful today." The reflex is to deflect. "Oh, this old thing? I got it on sale years ago." In these small, seemingly innocuous exchanges, we are rigorously practicing the art of rejection. We are training ourselves and the universe that we are not open to receiving good. We are effectively slapping away the outstretched hand of our silent partner. To heal this, we must reframe our entire understanding of giving and receiving. Consider the most fundamental act of being alive: breathing. Breathing consists of two inseparable movements, the exhalation and the inhalation. The exhalation is the giving out of carbon dioxide. The inhalation is the receiving of life-giving oxygen. Now, try to live your life by only exhaling. Try to only give, to only push out. How long would you last? Mere seconds. You would suffocate. To refuse to inhale is to refuse life itself. Giving and receiving are not two opposing actions. They are the exhale and the inhale of a single, unified breath of cosmic abundance. They are two halves of a single circuit. When you give generously, you create a vacuum, a space that the universe longs to fill. When you receive graciously, you are completing the circuit. You are allowing the energy of abundance to flow through you, not just from you. To block the act of receiving is to short-circuit the entire system. A person who cannot receive well will, eventually, inevitably, find that they have nothing left to give. They become an empty vessel, a collapsed lung. Energetically, when you refuse or deflect a gift, you are doing more than just being modest. You are communicating to the universe, "Your judgment is wrong. I am not worthy of the good you are trying to send me. You have made a mistake." This creates a dissonance in your partnership. It is like telling your senior partner that their deliveries are unwanted. After a while, a good partner will stop trying to deliver to a house where no one ever answers the door. Every time you deflect a compliment or refuse a gift, you are casting another vote for your own unworthiness. You are strengthening the very belief that keeps you in a state of lack. You are practicing the vibration of not deserving. And the healing lies in the conscious practice of sacred receiving. Your training begins today, in the small moments of your life. The next time someone offers you a compliment, I want you to try something radical. Pause. Take a breath. Look them in the eye, smile genuinely, and say two simple, powerful words, "Thank you." That is all. No deflecting, no downplaying, no self-deprecating humor. Just a clean, open thank you. As you say it, feel the warmth of their appreciation land in your heart. Let it in. You are not being arrogant. You are graciously accepting the gift they have offered. And in doing so, you are honoring both them and yourself. When someone offers you a gift, whether it's paying for your coffee, giving you a thoughtful present, or offering their help with a task, see it as a delivery from your silent partner, who is simply using that person as the delivery agent. Resist the urge to say, "Oh, you don't have to do that." Instead, smile and say, "Thank you so much. I receive this with gratitude." Understand that your gracious acceptance is not just a gift to you, it is a gift to them. You are allowing them the joy and pleasure of being a channel for abundance. When an opportunity appears, resist the habit of immediately listing all the reasons why it won't work or why you're not ready. Let your first response be one of quiet, grateful consideration. Thank you, universe, for this potential delivery. I am open to receiving this good into my life. I am worthy of this. As you practice this, you will realize a profound truth. Gracious receiving is also a form of giving. When you allow someone to help you, you are giving them the gift of feeling capable and generous. When you accept a compliment with joy, you are giving the other person the gift of having their kind words truly land and make a difference. When you receive with an open heart, you give the universe the gift of fulfilling its own nature, which is to give ceaselessly. Your open, grateful heart becomes a mirror, showing your silent partner its own magnificent generosity. As you master the sacred art of receiving, something beautiful and transformative begins to happen. Your heart, which may have been closed off and defended for years, begins to soften and open. You start to notice the constant, subtle stream of gifts, blessings, and graces that the universe has always been trying to give you, which you were simply unable to see before. A deep, authentic feeling of being cared for, of being provided for, begins to dawn in your consciousness. This newfound awareness of being constantly nourished by life gives rise to a powerful, genuine, and life-altering emotion. The act of receiving well is the fertile soil from which the fragrant flower of true gratitude blooms. And it is this frequency, the high, clear, magnetic frequency of gratitude, that acts as the ultimate amplifier for your abundance, ensuring that the deliveries from your silent partner become ever more frequent, ever more magnificent, and ever more miraculous. Having learned to graciously open the door of our hearts through the art of sacred receiving, we now find ourselves standing in a new inner landscape. It is a world illuminated by a gentle, golden light, the light of appreciation for the gifts, both large and small, that we are finally allowing ourselves to see. This quiet appreciation is the seed of the most powerful and transformative creative force we have yet discussed. It is time now to move beyond the polite, conditioned courtesy of saying thank you, and to learn how to inhabit the vibrational reality, the high, clear, magnetic state of being, that is, the gratitude frequency. Let us be clear, gratitude is not a social grace. It is a spiritual technology. It is not an action you perform. It is a state you embody. The simple words, thank you, can be uttered with an empty heart, but true gratitude is a profound, visceral feeling. It is an emotional resonance with the good that is already present in your life. It is a form of spiritual vision, a way of seeing that penetrates the illusion of lack and perceives the ever-present reality of abundance. We have been taught that gratitude is what you feel after a gift arrives. But the great secret is that gratitude is the energetic state that causes the gift to arrive in the first place. Imagine the garden of your life. Through the inner work you have done, you have planted the most precious and powerful seeds of your intentions, your desires, and your fulfilled feelings in the fertile soil of your consciousness. These seeds hold the perfect blueprint for a magnificent harvest. But seeds, no matter how miraculous, cannot grow without a vital element. They cannot grow without water. Gratitude is that water. It is the living, nourishing, life-giving element that allows your seeds of intention to germinate, to sprout, and to grow into magnificent, fruit-bearing plants. You can plant the most wonderful seeds in the world, but if you do not consistently water them with the pure, life-giving rain of gratitude, they will wither and die in the soil. The ungrateful gardener walks through his garden and his eyes see only lack. He focuses on the empty patches where nothing has yet grown. He fixates on the weeds of his problems. He complains about the plants that are not yet fruiting. His constant focus on what is wrong is like pouring salt on the soil, making it barren and hostile to life. The grateful gardener walks through the very same garden, but his perception is tuned to a different frequency. His eyes are naturally drawn to the first tender green sprout pushing its way through the earth. He celebrates the single, small flower that has bravely opened. He feels a thrill of joy for the one tiny fruit that is beginning to form. He pours the water of his loving, appreciative attention onto what is growing, onto the evidence of life, however small. And as a result of this focused nourishment, the entire garden responds, bursting forth in a riot of color, vitality, and abundant fruit. This is not just a pleasant metaphor. It is a description of the physics of consciousness. Gratitude is the ultimate signal of fulfillment that you can send to your silent partner, the universe. It is a powerful, coherent, vibrational declaration that says, "Thank you. The delivery has arrived. I have received it. I love it. More of this, please." It is the most effective form of positive reinforcement you can give to the creative force of life. When the universe sees that you appreciate its gifts, it is delighted to send you more. Gratitude literally retrains your brain and retunes your energy field to look for the good. It shifts your entire consciousness from a problem-focused orientation to a blessing-focused orientation. And since the immutable law of the mind is that what you focus on expands, you inevitably begin to see more and more to be grateful for. The universe must show you what you are consistently looking for. Furthermore, it is impossible to feel genuine, heartfelt gratitude and the feeling of lack at the very same time. The two feelings are mutually exclusive. They vibrate at such different frequencies that they cannot coexist in your consciousness. Gratitude is the ultimate antidote to the shadow of scarcity. It is the brilliant light that instantly, effortlessly dissolves the darkness of fear, envy, and dissatisfaction. You cannot be truly grateful and feel poor simultaneously. The practice, then, is one of radical gratitude. This means cultivating gratitude not just as a fleeting reaction to good news, but as your default state of being. We begin with gratitude for what is obviously good. But the master-level practice is to learn to find gratitude even for the challenges, the obstacles, and the so-called failures. Look back at a past hardship in your life, a job loss, a financial struggle, a painful breakup. At the time, it felt like a curse. But now, with the wisdom of hindsight, can you find the hidden gift? Did the job loss push you onto a new, more authentic career path? Did the financial struggle teach you resilience and resourcefulness? Did the hardship reveal a strength you never knew you had? To give thanks for the wisdom gained from a wound is to complete its healing and to extract its final, precious jewel. From there, we graduate to the practice of gratitude in advance. This is the art of giving thanks for your desire before it has fully manifested in your physical world. This is not a form of pleading or hope. It is an expression of absolute faith. It is the calm, certain acknowledgement that because you have successfully created your desire in consciousness, the only place where creation ever truly happens, its appearance in your physical reality, is a guaranteed certainty. It is a done deal. You begin to say with quiet conviction, "Thank you, universe, for the immense wealth and freedom that are mine now. Thank you for the perfect opportunities that are flowing to me." This act of thanking in advance aligns your energy so powerfully with the reality of the wish fulfilled that the universe must rush to make it so. The simplest way to cultivate this state is to go on a daily gratitude rampage. At the beginning or end of your day, speak aloud or write down in a journal everything you are genuinely grateful for. Move from the big to the small and let the feeling build. I am grateful for the roof over my head. I am grateful for my healthy body. I am grateful for the love of my family. I am grateful for the comfort of my bed. I am grateful for the delicious taste of this coffee. I am grateful for the simple, miraculous fact of my own breath. Allow the momentum of appreciation to carry you into a higher and higher state of being. Feel the warmth spread through your chest. Feel the smile come to your face. You are actively watering your garden. Understand that every complaint is a prayer for more things to complain about. It is an affirmation of lack. It is a declaration of victimhood. It is the act of meticulously watering the weeds. Gratitude is the conscious, powerful choice to turn your back on the weeds and to pour all of your loving attention and energy onto the flowers. As you make the gratitude frequency your new home, your default emotional state, the entire chemistry of your life will begin to change. The flow of abundance will inevitably increase. The deliveries from your silent partner will become more frequent and more substantial. Your garden will begin to flourish beyond what you had previously thought possible. And this brings with it a new, wonderful, and joyful responsibility. You are no longer just the sower of seeds or the gardener tending to sprouts. You are now the caretaker of an abundant harvest. You must learn how to manage this incoming flow of energy, not from a place of fear and hoarding that would kill the plants, but from a place of wisdom, trust, and continued flow. You must graduate from being a mere recipient of abundance to becoming a wise and graceful channel for it. It is time now to learn about the sacred responsibility of the stewardship of flow. There is a word that has been whispered through the ages, a concept so vast it has been both revered and feared. That word is karma. For many, the word itself lands with a heavy thud, a feeling of cosmic debt, of an unseen judge keeping a meticulous ledger of every right and wrong. It evokes the image of a great scale in the sky, weighing your deeds, preparing a future punishment or reward that you cannot escape. We have been taught to fear it, to see it as an unbreakable chain of consequence, a sentence passed down from a distant, impersonal tribunal. But this understanding, born of fear and a sense of separation, is a shadow of the truth. It is time to step out of that shadow and into the light of a deeper knowing. The universe is not a courtroom, and you are not on trial. Karma is not a judge. It is a teacher. It is not a system of punishment. It is a system of reflection. It is the most honest, impartial, and compassionate mirror you will ever have the privilege of looking into. Imagine your life, your entire reality, as a single, vast, and flawless mirror. This mirror has no opinion. It has no judgment. It cannot be flattered, and it cannot be deceived. It does not decide what to show you based on whether you have been good or bad. Its only function, its only law, is to reflect, with perfect and unerring precision, whatever stands before it. You are the one standing before this mirror. Your state of being, the sum total of your thoughts, your intentions, your beliefs, your vibrations, this is the image that you present to the great mirror of existence. And the events of your life, the people you meet, the situations you encounter, the feelings that arise within you, this is the reflection. It is nothing more and nothing less. When you look into a physical mirror and see a smudge on your face, you do not get angry at the mirror. You do not try to wipe the mirror's surface. You do not accuse the mirror of being unfair or cruel. You understand its neutral function. You simply reach up and wipe the smudge from your own face. The law of karma asks you to apply this same simple, profound wisdom to the whole of your life. The world is not happening to you. The world is reflecting from you. This is why the simplistic notion of good deeds and bad deeds falls apart under true spiritual inquiry. The universe does not operate on a human moral code. It operates on the law of energetic resonance. It does not hear the words you say as much as it feels the vibration from which you speak them. You can perform an act of charity for the entire world to see, but if the intention behind it is fueled by a need for validation, a desire for recognition, or a feeling of resentful obligation, the energy you are projecting is one of lack, neediness, and resentment. The mirror of karma, in its perfect honesty, will not reflect the outward act. It will reflect the inward frequency. It will bring you more experiences that make you feel unseen, unappreciated, and burdened. Conversely, you could spend a day in total solitude, doing nothing that the world would label as good or productive. But if you are dwelling in a state of profound peace, self-love, and gratitude, you are projecting the frequency of wholeness. The mirror will have no choice but to orchestrate circumstances, people, and events that match this state of inner abundance. Karma is the energetic echo of the cause you have set in motion, and the primary cause is always your state of being. So, if karma is a teacher, what is its curriculum? The lesson is always self-awareness. The feedback is always guiding you back home to your true nature. When you find yourself trapped in a recurring pattern, a cycle of experience that seems to haunt you, do not see it as a curse. See it as a persistent and patient teacher holding up the mirror, asking you to look closer. If you repeatedly experience betrayal, the universe is not punishing you. The mirror is gently asking, where are you betraying yourself? Where are you abandoning your own truth to please others? Where is your own lack of self-loyalty being projected outward? If you are constantly steeped in the reality of lack, of not having enough, the mirror is not withholding from you. It is patiently questioning, from what place of inner scarcity are you operating? Do you believe you are unworthy of abundance? Do you live in the feeling of not enough? If your life is a battlefield of constant conflict and arguments, the mirror is not attacking you. It is reflecting your own inner state, posing the question, what is the nature of the war you are waging within yourself? What unresolved conflict inside you is screaming to be seen? The experience will continue to appear, not to torment you, but because the lesson has not yet been learned. The soul, in its infinite wisdom, has chosen this curriculum for its own expansion. The moment you see the reflection for what it is, a message about your inner state, you have begun to learn the lesson. The moment you turn your attention away from the reflection and onto the source yourself, you have begun to change the image. This is how we must reframe what the ego calls good karma and bad karma. From the perspective of the ego, which seeks only comfort and pleasure, good karma is a life of ease, and bad karma is a life of hardship. But from the perspective of the soul, which seeks only growth and evolution, the definitions are often reversed. The times of greatest hardship, the experiences that bring you to your knees, the so-called bad karma, are often the soul's most potent and accelerated learning opportunities. These are the moments that shatter the ego, forcing you to seek a deeper reality. They are the intense fire that burns away all that is not essential, leaving only the pure gold of your true self. To the ego, it is a catastrophe. To the soul, it is a graduation. The challenging situation is not a punishment for a past mistake. It is a meticulously chosen catalyst for your present awakening. When you can look upon your greatest challenges with a sense of gratitude, knowing they were your greatest teachers, you have transcended the fear-based idea of karma entirely. You have stepped into partnership with the law, and this is where your power lies. This is where you reclaim your role as a conscious creator. Karma is not fate. It is not an unchangeable destiny written in stone. It is a living, responsive law, and its point of operation is always now. You are not a prisoner of past actions. You are only bound by them as long as you continue to carry the same energy that created them. The moment you change your inner state, you begin to project a new image into the mirror. You begin to generate a new cause, which must, by law, produce a new effect, a new reflection. You do not have to spend years laboring to pay off a karmic debt. You pay the debt by learning the lesson it was sent to teach you. You dissolve the pattern by becoming conscious of it and choosing a different frequency right now, in this moment. The past has no power over you other than the power you give it by reliving it in your mind and body. Your point of power is not in the past you regret or the future you fear. It is in the present state you choose to inhabit. Choose a state of forgiveness, and you will be reflected forgiveness. Choose a state of abundance, and you will be reflected abundance. Choose a state of love, and you will be reflected love. This is not wishful thinking. This is the law of the cosmos. The mirror does not lie. The reflection you are experiencing today is the result of past projections. But the reflection you will experience tomorrow is being determined by what you are projecting into the mirror right now. Look at your life. Look at the reflections. Do not judge them. Do not fear them. Simply thank them for their honest feedback. They are the truest teachers you will ever know, guiding you, always, back to the source of the image, back to you. As you stand before the impeccable mirror of your own life, holding the lessons of karma not as a sentence but as a sacred teaching, you may begin to notice something profound. If you gaze long enough, past your own eyes, past your immediate reflection, you might see other faces faintly superimposed upon your own. The determined set of a grandfather's jaw, the gentle worry in a mother's eyes, the unspoken grief of a distant ancestor you never knew. You come to realize that you are not, and have never been, an isolated island. You are a river, a single, flowing expression of a much larger body of water that stretches back through the mists of time. You are a link in a vast and ancient chain, and you carry, within your very cells, not only the color of your eyes or the shape of your hands, but the energetic echoes of the entire chain. You have inherited more than just a name. You have inherited a legacy of energy, a collection of emotional heirlooms passed down in silence from one generation to the next. This is a truth that modern understanding often overlooks. We accept the inheritance of physical DNA without question, but we fail to see its energetic counterpart. We inherit the unhealed traumas, the limiting beliefs, the silent vows, and the suppressed emotions of our lineage. A deep-seated fear of scarcity can run through a family for generations, even long after material wealth has been secured. A pattern of emotional coldness, of an inability to speak the words "I love you," can be passed down like a frozen relic. An unspoken grief from a long-forgotten loss can manifest as a vague, pervasive sadness in a descendant who has no logical reason for sorrow. These are not character flaws. They are ancestral chains. They are the energetic rust that has accumulated on the links of your lineage, passed down unconsciously, with each generation unknowingly adding another layer through their own unquestioned reactions to life. You feel these chains not as iron shackles, but as the nagging thought that you are not good enough, as the inexplicable anxiety that rises in your chest, as the self-sabotaging patterns that you cannot seem to break, no matter how hard you try. You have been fighting these patterns as if they were your own personal demons. But perhaps you are fighting ghosts. Perhaps you are wrestling with the unresolved pain of those who came before you. Imagine this chain of which you are a part. See it stretching into the dim past, link after link, each one a life lived, a soul's journey. It is a chain of farmers, of mothers, of warriors, of survivors. And on this chain, you can see the corrosion of time, the rust of unspoken grief that was never allowed to be shed, the brittle texture of unlived dreams that were sacrificed for survival, the deep corrosion of suppressed anger that was deemed too dangerous to express, the dull patina of fear that became a family's primary worldview. For generations, this chain has been passed down in darkness, the rust mistaken for the metal itself. No one could see it for what it was, but you can. Here, now, in this moment of your awakening, a profound light has been switched on. You are the link upon which the light of consciousness is finally shining. This is not a burden. It is the highest of honors. You have not been chosen to suffer the weight of this chain. You have been chosen to be the alchemist who can finally polish it. You are the pattern breaker. You are the one your ancestors have been waiting for. Your task is not to unearth every secret of the past or to assign blame to those who were themselves unconscious. To blame them is to simply add another layer of corrosive energy to the chain. Your work is more subtle, more profound, and it is done entirely within the sacred temple of your own being. The healing happens now, within you. The first step is to acknowledge with compassion. When you feel that familiar surge of irrational anxiety, instead of condemning it or identifying with it, you can meet it with a new awareness. You can hold it gently and whisper internally, "Ah, hello. I recognize you. You are not mine, but I feel you. You are the fear my grandmother felt when she had to raise her children alone. I see you." When you feel the cold grip of emotional shutdown, the inability to connect with a loved one, you can observe it and say, "This is the wall my father built to survive his own pain. I honor the protection it gave him." This act of compassionate recognition is an act of profound love. It separates the energy from your identity. You are no longer the anxiety. You are the loving awareness that is holding the anxiety. You are no longer the coldness. You are the warm space in which the coldness is allowed to appear, perhaps for the very first time, without judgment. The second step is to allow the energy to be processed through your own body. You are the vessel for this great transmutation. Where your ancestors had to repress and deny these feelings to survive, you have the unique opportunity to feel them, to heal them. When the ancestral grief rises, allow the tears to fall from your eyes. You are shedding the tears they never could. When the ancestral anger surfaces, allow yourself to feel its fire in your belly, not by lashing out, but by breathing into it, giving it space, letting its immense energy be witnessed by your consciousness until it dissolves into simple, neutral sensation. You are providing a safe harbor for these long-exiled emotional energies to finally come home and be at peace. You are not being harmed by them. You are liberating them. You are feeling them on behalf of your entire lineage. And from this place of conscious awareness, you perform the ultimate act of alchemy. You make a new choice. After acknowledging the old fear of scarcity, after feeling its constricted energy in your body, you can consciously and deliberately declare, "I honor the journey that created this fear. It is a part of my history, but it is not my reality. I now choose to anchor myself in the frequency of abundance. I now choose to trust in the infinite wellspring of life." You are consciously breaking the energetic vow of loyalty to the old pattern. You are stepping out of the hypnotic trance that has held your family line captive. With every conscious breath, with every new choice, you are polishing your link in the chain. You are scraping away the rust. And this act of healing is not confined by linear time. As you heal the wound within you, you send a ripple of peace backward through the chain, liberating your ancestors from the echoing resonance of their own pain. And most importantly, you stop the rust from spreading forward. You ensure that this legacy of pain ends with you. You become a clear vessel, a clean link, a luminous point of origin for a new legacy of freedom, of consciousness, of love to be passed to the generations that may come after you. You become the one who broke the spell. You are the alchemist who takes the heavy, rusted iron of the past and within the furnace of your own loving heart, transforms it into the shining, liberated gold of the present. After the deep and sometimes heavy work of untangling the knots of personal karma and healing the rusted chains of our ancestors, there is a space that opens up, a clearing in the dense forest of the mind. Into this clearing, a new light can shine, and this light has a name. We call it gratitude. But this is not the simple, polite gratitude of a transaction, the thank you said in response to a gift received. That form of gratitude is conditional. It is reactive. It depends on an external event to be triggered. The power we speak of now is of a different order entirely. We speak of unconditional gratitude. This is not an action you perform, but a state you inhabit. It is a fundamental frequency, a way of being in the world that does not depend on circumstances. It is the steady, unwavering hum of appreciation that becomes the very atmosphere of your soul. It is the difference between visiting a beautiful temple and becoming the temple itself. Think of gratitude as the master key to the universe. There are many keys for many doors, the key of effort, the key of intellect, the key of discipline. But gratitude is the key that opens all doors, even those you did not know existed. It is the ultimate resonant frequency, the creative force of the cosmos, the intelligence that orchestrates the dance of galaxies and the blooming of a flower, operates on a frequency of wholeness, of abundance, of love. Gratitude is the human heart's harmonious echo of this divine frequency. When you consciously enter a state of gratitude, you are tuning your own instrument, your heart, your mind, your very energy field to the music of creation itself. You cease to be a dissonant note of striving and lack, and you become part of the grand symphony. In this state of alignment, the universe no longer feels like a separate, external force you must wrestle with. It becomes your collaborator, your partner in a dance, responding to your harmonious energy with a flow of grace and synchronicity. Let us begin with the simple, for the simple holds the most profound magic. True gratitude is born in the soil of the present moment. It is the deep appreciation for the miracles we have been taught to call mundane. Feel right now the quiet miracle of your own breath, the air, freely given, entering your body, nourishing every single cell, and then releasing without any conscious effort from you. This has been happening every moment of your life. It is a constant, unwavering gift. Feel grateful for it. Feel the weight of your body, the simple, solid fact of your existence here on this earth. Be grateful for the heart that beats within your chest, a faithful drum that has not missed a beat since before you were born. Be grateful for the senses that allow you to perceive this world, the eyes that can witness the impossible color of a sunset, the ears that can hear the sound of rain or the voice of a loved one. We chase grand achievements and momentous occasions while swimming in an ocean of continuous, unspoken miracles. To cultivate unconditional gratitude is to learn to see this ocean, to taste its salt, to feel its embrace. It is to find overwhelming cause for thanks in a simple glass of clean water, in the warmth of a blanket, in the silence between sounds. This is where the muscle is trained. This is where the foundation is laid. And now we must take the great leap, for it is easy to be grateful for the sunrise, for the loving embrace, for the day when all goes well. The true alchemy, the work that transforms you at a cellular level, is to find gratitude for the challenges, to be grateful for the storm as well as the sun, This is not a call for masochism or a denial of pain. The pain is real, the sorrow is real, the fear is real. But gratitude allows you to hold that pain, sorrow, and fear from a higher perspective. It is the profound and unwavering trust that nothing is happening to you, but everything is happening for you. For your growth, for your unfolding, for your ultimate liberation. It is the ability to look upon the greatest difficulty of your life, the moment that brought you to your knees, and to whisper, "Thank you." Not for the pain itself, but for the strength I was forced to discover because of it. Thank you for the compassion that was born in me through this suffering. Thank you for shattering the illusions I was clinging to. Thank you for showing me what is truly important. The challenging person becomes a teacher of patience. The financial loss becomes a teacher of inner resourcefulness. The illness becomes a teacher of presence and the preciousness of life. When you can genuinely feel gratitude for your deepest wounds, they cease to be wounds. They become portals. They are the cracks through which the light gets in, and your gratitude is what welcomes that light. This state of being is the secret behind the ancient wisdom of assuming the wish fulfilled. It is the Amen spoken before the prayer has been answered. Most people approach creation from a place of lack. They ask the universe for something because they feel its absence acutely. This asking, while sincere, vibrates at the frequency of not having. Gratitude reverses this process entirely. It is a declaration of faith. To feel genuine gratitude for the abundance that has not yet materialized, for the love that has not yet arrived, for the healing that is not yet complete, is to align yourself so perfectly with the reality of its existence that it has no choice but to manifest. You are not trying to convince the universe. You are agreeing with it. You are acknowledging that in the quantum field where all possibilities exist, your desire is already a finished fact, and you are flooding your being with the emotional signature of its completion. It is the most powerful statement of trust you can make. It tells the creative intelligence of the cosmos that you are ready, you are open, you are a vibrational match to the good that you seek. This is not just a poetic concept, it is a physiological reality. When you genuinely drop into a state of gratitude, your entire biology shifts. Your heart begins to beat in a more coherent, rhythmic pattern. Your brainwaves change. Your nervous system shifts from a state of fight or flight into one of rest and restore. You are literally flooded with chemistry that heals your body and calms your mind. From an energetic perspective, the frequency of gratitude is one of the highest you can embody. It is a luminous, warm, and expansive energy. In its presence, lower frequencies like fear, resentment, anger, and jealousy cannot long survive. They are like shadows that instantly vanish when a bright light is switched on. Gratitude becomes your energetic shield, your emotional sanctuary. When you make gratitude your home, you become a difficult target for the negativity of the world. You are no longer vibrating at a level where it can attach to you. You are living in a higher octave. Your life begins to flow with an inexplicable ease, not because all problems vanish, but because you have found the grace within that is greater than any problem. You have found the ultimate key. You are holding it in your heart, and all you have to do is turn it. In the architecture of our modern world, we have built a fortress against a single, inevitable truth. We have insulated our lives with noise, distraction, and the relentless pursuit of more. We worship at the altar of eternal youth. We fill our days with frantic activity, and we speak of the great end only in hushed, fearful tones, if we speak of it at all. The entire culture is a conspiracy of denial, a collective agreement to not look at the one event that gives all others their shape and meaning. This event is death. But this avoidance comes at a terrible cost. In trying to deny death, we have inadvertently denied ourselves the full depth and vibrancy of life. We have been taught to see death as the enemy, the final failure, the ultimate tragedy. But for the soul on a journey of awakening, death is not the enemy. It is the most potent, honest, and clarifying advisor you will ever have. Imagine for a moment that this advisor is a constant presence. not a grim reaper with a skeletal grin, but a silent, steady companion standing just over your left shoulder. It does not speak in a booming voice of judgment, but in a quiet, persistent whisper that can only be heard in the moments of stillness you allow yourself. This advisor is not here to frighten you into submission. It is here to liberate you. Its sole purpose is to hold up the lens of impermanence, a lens that has the miraculous power to burn away everything that is not essential, everything that is not true. In the unwavering gaze of this advisor, the illusions of the ego crumble to dust. The intricate dramas we construct, the petty grievances we nurse for years, the grudges that curdle our hearts, they are revealed for what they are. Meaningless shadows, a waste of precious, finite breath. Listen to the advisor's whisper now. It asks, "This anger you are holding towards another, will it matter on your last day?" In an instant, the self-righteousness dissolves, replaced by a longing for peace and reconciliation. The advisor points to your frantic chase for more status, more possessions, more approval. It whispers, "This thing you are striving for, this opinion you are so desperate to win, will you carry it with you when you go?" And you see, with sudden, startling clarity, the hollowness of seeking your worth outside of yourself. The fear of what other people think, a fear that dictates so many of our choices and cages our true expression, becomes utterly absurd under the advisor's gaze. Will the judgment of strangers matter more than the deep, aching regret of not having lived your own life? The advisor's presence incinerates procrastination. The seductive lie of someday I will write that book, someday I will travel, someday I will learn to forgive, someday I will tell them I love Themis exposed. The advisor reminds you that you have only this day, this moment. Someday is an illusion. Now is the only reality you will ever be given. This is the first great gift of befriending death. It bestows a calm, focused urgency. It is not the frantic panic of running out of time, but the serene intensity of a master artist who knows they have a limited amount of daylight left to complete their masterpiece. Your life is that masterpiece. The awareness of your mortality dissolves the gray fog of taking things for granted. Suddenly, you are truly present. The taste of your morning coffee becomes a small, profound miracle. The feeling of the sun on your skin is a blessing. The sound of your child's laughter is not just a pleasant noise. It is the music of the cosmos playing a temporary, beautiful symphony in your home. You begin to live with a richness and a texture that is impossible when you are under the illusion that your days are infinite. This is the ultimate call to mindfulness. Your impending end is what makes your present moment sacred. The second great gift is the courage to be authentic. Perhaps the greatest tragedy is not death itself, but arriving at the end of one's life only to realize you never truly lived. You lived the life your parents wanted for you, the life society prescribed, the life you thought would keep you safe and accepted. You wore a mask for so long that you forgot the face beneath it. The silent advisor, in its radical honesty, asks the most penetrating question of all. Are you being true? In the face of your own annihilation, the risk of being judged for your authentic self seems laughably small. The potential disapproval of others becomes a feather, weighed against the mountain of regret for a soul that was never allowed to sing its own unique song. Contemplating your death gives you the permission you were always waiting for. Permission to quit the job that is crushing your spirit. Permission to love who you truly love. Permission to express your wild, unconventional, beautiful self without apology. It is the final, ultimate push out of the nest of conformity and into the wide, open sky of your own being. And what of love? The awareness of death is the greatest catalyst for love there is. When you truly understand that you and your loved ones are here for but a fleeting season, the walls you build around your heart begin to crumble. You stop holding back. You stop keeping score. You understand that every interaction is precious. The quiet presence of your advisor urges you to forgive quickly, to love fiercely, to speak the words of appreciation now, not later. It reminds you that in the final accounting, all of your accomplishments and accumulations will be meaningless. The only thing that will retain its value, the only currency the soul recognizes, is the love you gave and the love you allowed yourself to receive. Knowing that all forms are temporary allows you to love the form more completely, without the clenching grip of attachment, but with the open palm of profound, unconditional appreciation. Finally, as you grow comfortable with this advisor, you may come to sense a deeper truth. The advisor speaks of the end of your body, the end of your personality, the end of the story of you in this world, but it remains silent about the end of the awareness that is listening. In showing you the impermanence of all things, it hints at the one thing that may be permanent, the silent, witnessing consciousness that has been the constant backdrop of your entire life. It helps you gently disentangle your identity from the temporary vessel of your body and the fleeting contents of your mind. You begin to sense that what you truly are is not something that can die. It is the life that animated the body, the silence that perceived the thoughts. And so, the advisor's final gift is peace. The fear of death transforms into a quiet acceptance of a natural cycle and a profound curiosity about the great mystery. By teaching you how to die, your advisor has, in the end, taught you precisely how to live, freely, authentically, and with a heart wide open. After the profound realization of our own impermanence, after allowing the silent advisor of death to strip away all that is not essential, we are left in a wide, open space of clarity. And in this space, a single, urgent question often arises. It is the question that has launched 1,000 journeys and sold 1,000,000 books. It is the great, heavy question of our time. What is my purpose? We have been conditioned to believe that life is a grand treasure hunt, and that hidden somewhere in the complex map of our existence is a single, golden chest labeled purpose. We believe it is a specific role, a special talent, a grand calling that we must discover. And so we search. We search in careers, in relationships, in achievements, in service. This search becomes a source of immense anxiety, a silent pressure that hums beneath the surface of our lives, making us feel that if we have not found our one true purpose, we are somehow failing, falling behind, living incorrectly. We look at others who seem to have found their purpose, and we feel a pang of inadequacy. This frantic search, this belief that your purpose is a destination you must arrive at, is one of the most subtle and pervasive traps of the ego. Let us dismantle this illusion, gently. The ego, your sense of self built from thoughts and external identity, loves the idea of a grand purpose. A purpose gives it a story, a future goal to strive for, a way to define itself and measure its worth. I am a healer. I am an artist. I am a leader. But this attachment to a future, external role is precisely what keeps you from living the only life you will ever have, which is this one, right now. The constant search for a future purpose renders the present moment as nothing more than a stepping stone, a means to an end. It makes the sacred reality of your current life feel like a waiting room. You are always on your way to becoming, and therefore never truly being. This is the great deception. Your purpose is not something you must find, achieve, or earn. It is not hidden in the future. Your purpose is something you already are, and it can only be realized in the absolute stillness of this present moment. Consider the sun. The sun does not wake up in the morning and ponder its purpose for the day. It does not attend seminars on how to shine more effectively or worry that it is not living up to its full potential as a star. The sun's purpose is not to do shining. The sun's purpose is simply to be the sun. In the effortless, radiant expression of its own being, shining is the natural consequence. Consider a flower in a field. A rose does not struggle with existential angst, wondering if it should have been a lily. It does not strive to become the most purposeful flower. Its purpose is simply to be a rose, and in the perfection of its being, it unfolds its petals, it releases its fragrance, it expresses its unique color and form, It's doing its bloomingus, an effortless overflow of its being. You are no different. Your primary purpose in this life is not a what, it is a how. It is not about what you do. It is about the consciousness you bring to your doing. Your primary purpose is simply to be the conscious presence that is animating your form, to be the still, aware space in which your life unfolds. This is where we must distinguish between inner and outer purpose. Your inner purpose is your primary purpose, and it is shared by every human being on the planet. It is to awaken. It is to be present. It is to bring the light of consciousness into this world, which is so often lost in the dream of unconscious thought. This purpose has nothing to do with any external conditions. You can fulfill your primary purpose whether you are washing the dishes, leading a country, or lying sick in a bed. It depends only on the quality of your awareness in that moment. Your outer purpose is secondary. It is what you do in the world. It is your work, your role as a parent, your art, your service. This outer purpose can change many times throughout your life. But here is the secret. Your outer purpose is simply the vehicle through which you live out your inner purpose. Without the foundation of your inner purpose, any outer achievement will ultimately feel hollow. You could gain the whole world, but if you do it unconsciously, you will feel an inner poverty. But when your doing flows from your being, when you bring your full awakened presence to your outer world, even the smallest, most mundane task becomes sacred. So, the question to ask yourself is not, what should I do with my life? A more powerful and immediate question is, how can I bring my full presence to what I am doing right now? Your purpose is not waiting for you in a new city or a new career. It is waiting for you in your very next breath. It is here, in the feeling of the water on your hands as you wash the dishes. Can you be fully present with that sensation, without mental commentary, without rushing to the next thing? If so, in that moment, you are fulfilling your purpose. It is here, in the conversation you are having with a loved one. Can you listen with your entire being, without formulating your reply while they are still speaking? If so, you are fulfilling your purpose. It is here, in the simple act of walking. Can you feel the contact of your feet on the ground, the air on your skin? In that moment, your purpose is fulfilled. When you infuse the present moment with your conscious presence, you are doing the most important work there is. You are anchoring the divine into the mundane. When you let go of the frantic search for a future purpose and instead focus on your state of being now, a magical thing happens. Your outer purpose begins to unfold naturally, effortlessly. By aligning with your inner purpose of being, you align yourself with the intelligence of the universe. The right opportunities, the right people, the right ideas, they begin to flow to you. You no longer have to chase and struggle. You are guided. Your life's work becomes not something you have to figure out with your anxious mind, but something that reveals itself through you when you are in a state of present moment awareness. It might be something grand, or it might be something beautifully simple. The form does not matter. What matters is that it is an authentic expression of the conscious being that you are. So, I invite you to lay down the heavy burden of the search. Give yourself permission to not know. Release the need to have your entire life mapped out. You are not behind. You have not missed the boat. You are exactly where you need to be. Your purpose is not a destination. It is the quality of your presence on the journey. Your purpose is to be here, fully, consciously, now. That is all that has ever been asked of you, and it is more than enough. And so, we arrive not at an end, but at the true beginning. After journeying through the architecture of the mind, after facing the shadows, after healing the ancestral chains, and after remembering the simple, profound purpose of our own being, there is a tendency to ask, what now? How do I hold on to this peace? We have been taught to compartmentalize our lives. There is work time, family time, and then, in a small, protected corner, there is spiritual time. Time on the meditation cushion, time in the yoga studio, time spent reading words like these. We treat stillness as a sanctuary we visit, a temporary refuge from the chaos of the world. But the ultimate aim of this journey has never been to become a good meditator. The aim is to make your entire life a meditation. The final step is to dissolve the walls of the sanctuary, to carry its sacred silence with you out into the noisy marketplace of the world. The idea of enlightenment has been draped in myth and misunderstanding. We imagine it as a dramatic, lightning bolt event, a permanent state of euphoric bliss where all human problems cease to exist. We see it as a finish line at the end of a long, arduous race. This image, this unobtainable ideal, has caused much striving and much despair. It is time to let it go. True awakening is something far more subtle, more practical, and more profound. It is not an escape from life. It is the courage to live the life you have, fully and without resistance. It is not the absence of problems, but the absence of your inner war with those problems. Enlightenment is the ability to carry the deep, unwavering peace of your morning meditation into the stress of your afternoon traffic jam. It is the art of remaining the calm, conscious center while the storms of the world rage around you. It is the end of the division between your spiritual self and your human self. It is the grand integration. The most powerful way to understand this is to realize that you are a portable temple. For millennia, humanity has built sacred structure churches, mosques, temples, stone circles, believing that God, or truth, or spirit, resided within those walls. The practice was to go to the sacred place to feel connected. The art of living as a walking meditation is the realization that the sacred place is not external. The temple is the stillness within you. The holy ground is your own conscious presence. This means that you can be standing in a crowded subway car, surrounded by the clamor of screeching wheels and 100 private dramas, and yet you can be simultaneously abiding in the silent, spacious cathedral of your own inner being. The outer world can be a storm of chaos, but your inner world can remain a sanctuary of perfect peace. This is the ultimate freedom. It is the freedom of being home, always, no matter where you are. How is this state practiced? It is not a complex technique. It is a gentle, continuous returning. The first and most faithful tool is your own breath. The breath is the anchor that holds the ship of your awareness steady in the turbulent seas of thought. At any moment, in any situation, while waiting in line, while listening in a meeting, while feeling a surge of frustration, you can discreetly bring a portion of your attention to the simple, physical sensation of the air entering and leaving your body. This act alone is a powerful meditation. It pulls your energy out of the frantic storytelling of the mind and anchors it in the serene reality of the present moment. It is the thread that leads you, again and again, back to the inner temple. The second tool is the awareness of your inner body. Beneath the level of thought, your body is a vibrant field of energy. Right now, without moving, can you feel the subtle aliveness in your hands? The tingling, the warmth, the vibration, can you feel it in your feet, your legs, your chest? This inner energy field is always present, always alive. By placing some of your attention on this inner aliveness, you create another anchor to the now. You can be engaged in a complex mental task, yet maintain a background awareness of the life in your hands. This simple practice keeps you grounded in your body and prevents you from becoming completely lost in the mind. This leads to the art of conscious perception. You begin to use your senses not just as functional tools, but as doorways to presence. When you look, you no longer just label objects: car, tree, person. You begin to truly see the play of light and shadow, the infinite shades of color, the intricate textures. You receive the visual world without the constant filter of mental commentary. When you listen, you hear the entire symphony of sound around you, the distant siren, the hum of the refrigerator, the bird song, the silence between the sounds, all as one unified field of vibration. When you eat, you truly taste, experiencing each bite as if it were the first and the last. Every single daily activity, walking, drinking a cup of tea, feeling the warmth of water on your skin as you wash your hands, becomes an opportunity to step out of thought and into the rich, sensory reality of the moment. Each act becomes a ritual of presence. Each moment becomes a prayer. In this way, the artificial wall between the spiritual and the mundane dissolves completely. Paying your bills is a spiritual practice, an opportunity to act with presence and gratitude. Dealing with a difficult colleague is a spiritual practice, an opportunity to remain centered and not react from the ego. Doing the laundry is a spiritual practice, a chance to be present with the simple miracle of clean clothes. Your life does not need to change on the outside for it to become profoundly spiritual. The only change required is an inner shift in the quality of your consciousness. Your life itself becomes your meditation, your guru, your monastery. There is nothing that is not part of the path. Every person you meet, every challenge you face, every joy you experience is a lesson from the University of Life, designed perfectly for your awakening. And so, this journey we have taken together through these words is not an endpoint. It is an inauguration. It is the handing over of the keys to your own inner temple. The purpose was never to accumulate more interesting spiritual concepts. The purpose was to awaken you to the living, breathing reality of who you are, and to give you the simple tools to abide in that reality. The training is complete. The real practice now begins. It is the practice of living, of walking, of breathing, of meeting each moment with open, loving, conscious awareness. There is no final destination to reach, no grand prize to be won. There is only this moment, this breath, this step, and the art of being fully here for it. This is the path. This is the goal. This is the walking meditation, and it is your life. The journey of these words is now complete. We have walked a path from the noisy, crowded marketplace of the mind to the silent, open temple of the heart. We have stood before the mirror of our own karma. We have polished the ancestral chains, and we have remembered the simple, profound purpose of our own existence. We have come to the end of the telling, but it is not an end. It is a doorway. There is no need to grasp at the ideas we have explored, no need to memorize them as intellectual concepts. If this journey has served its purpose, it has awakened within you a feeling, a resonance, a memory of your own deep truth. The truth of who you are cannot be held in words. It can only be felt in the stillness that lies beneath them. Imagine your consciousness as a vast and deep lake. For most of your life, you have lived on the surface, identifying with the ripples and waves created by the winds of circumstance. You believed you were the anxiety, the joy, the anger, the passing thoughts, the ever-changing weather on the surface. But now you know a deeper truth. You have learned to dive beneath the turbulence, down into the immense, silent, peaceful depths of your own being. This quiet abyss is always here. It is untouched by the fiercest storm that rages on the surface. The world can throw its stones, the winds of fortune can blow, but they can no longer disturb the infinite stillness of your core. You are not the ripples. You are the entire lake. Carry this feeling with you. Let these words fade, and let this inner knowing remain. Whenever you feel lost in the noise of the world, whenever the storms of the mind begin to gather, return to this inner space. And if you need a guide, a simple reminder, let this be your silent mantra. I am the stillness behind the noise. I am the space for all that is. I am home. Repeat it not as an affirmation to convince yourself, but as a statement of remembrance, a tuning fork to bring your entire being back into harmony with the truth. The map has been read. The territory of your own boundless consciousness now awaits your gentle exploration. And now you begin, not by doing, but by being.